only the offenders should feel.
So you should be live now.
Oh shit! Are we
Yes,
live
we
now?
should
Yeah.
be. We should
Let me
be
tilt.
live.
I feel like I've got to tilt the.
Yeah, you just look ahead.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's good. That's good.
I
That's good.
apologize for the lighting, mother lovers. What's going on, mother lovers? We are back again. That's right. Live via satellite. Oh, I wanted to say that. You know what I mean? I get to say it a second time. Live via satellite. Whatever that means these days. Apparently, I'll just say this, yeah. Apparently, we think we're using satellite for the internet, but it's actually it's all wires under the ground. Who the fuck knows, man? But welcome back to another session of some shit you might not never know nothing about. That's right, the podcast where you get to learn some shit you might not have never thought about before. Do you know what I mean? With your host right here. I know I look a bit darker than usual. Hey, calm down. Don't, you know what I mean? Look a bit darker than usual, but like I said, we're doing this live via satellite. I'm still in Bordeaux. You know what I mean? I'm going to be back tomorrow. But I'm your host, MysDiggi, with my co-host, Dan DNA. What's going on, bro?
Good. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, see you there. Lonely D. Okay. Lonely Vice, Lonely D. You know what I mean?
I've only got one light on.
I'm still here underwater. But
Yeah. Yeah, I've only got
you've
one
only
light
got
on.
one light on.
Yeah.
You only need one, innit?
Yeah.
When you're on your own. That's, you know what I mean? One little candle. One little candle lit dinner on your jacket.
Just the meal for one.
Little candle lit TV dinner and that.
That's what I had before the show. We normally have like a nice spread on this table, don't we? Together we have like a nice dinner, but today I just got M&S meal for one, a small bottle of wine.
Shit, man. Yeah, man. But well, I'll be back next week. You know what I mean? I should be getting back tomorrow, man. And then I'll be on full.
You've got a quarantine though. Yeah.
Quarantine. Yeah, I got a quarantine, fam. You know them way there. Like, man, can't do right. What have I got to do on Thursday? I can't do it, bro. Why? Man's got a quarantine, innit? That's gonna be the new normal. The new normal ain't just gonna be you looking like Ebony McGraw every fucking hour of the day. But it's also, you got straight up quarantine. Man will go to the dentist because you were in the queue. You know, like you got to sit there with other people and shit. Yeah. Nah, I had to go. Right, what you on next week? Boy, man's on quarantining. What do you mean? Nah, I went dentist, innit? Oh, yeah. It's going to be normal soon, bruv. This is fucked up, man. But, we want to big up all the people that are locked in with us right about now. And when we're talking about people, we don't mean just regular people. We're on about people with some fucking common sense, a.k.a. the common sensors. Who we got in the building right now? All right, I think my stream's a bit messed up, but shout out to Yamor, shout out to Black Einstein, shout out to Kenny Rebel, shout out to DJ Pro Tracks, my man PLK. Yeah, shout out to the people in the building so far, man. We appreciate you, mother lovers. It's good to see everyone. You know what I mean? Yo, it's been a bit of a mad week, man. Shout out to Chris Lahat. Yeah, I've enjoyed France, man. Listen to my voice. It's all my voice is tear out, man. Shout out to Oshi. Oh, Camila, what's going on, big bro? I've had some fun out here, man. Basically been rehearsing since Sunday with Smokey Joe and the kid. You know, some of you lot may remember, like, I shouted out, we had a few, quite a few shows booked up for the beginning of this year. They were meant to be, I think we're meant to be gigging tomorrow. What day is it today? 26th. Yeah, we're meant to be gigging 27, 28, 29. Yeah. Bam, bam, bam. It'd have been rehearse. And then, get into like doing the live show. But thanks to your good friend Rona, that bitch Rona and all her the many faces she has, all her variants of that. We can't do it, man. I think things have been postponed until March now or something like that. But yeah, so it's meant to kick off in February. But you know, to be honest, man, I'll be honest. I didn't think it was going to happen
Right.
either, just because of the pattern. You know what I mean? You know when you can see how things are flowing, and people got to be positive as well about all of this, and I get that. But the reality is, man, there's too many people. Too many people are under that spell. You know what I mean? They really believe all of what is going on the TV is really going on outside of the TV, even though when you're outside of the TV, it doesn't look anything like what it does on the TV, let alone the like majority of the people on the TV are actually actors. They're paid actors. I just want to say to the people out there, if you've got friends that are saying to you like, oh, I don't get my information from online, you just say to them, oh, so you get it all from the TV. So you get all your health information from the TV. You just got to say that to them and then let them think a little bit about that. That's the weirdest shit ever. But yeah, so big up to all the people locked in right about now. I've had a few chats with people behind the scenes and they appreciate what we're doing. I understand like there's some people that can't really come on here and talk the talk because, you know, they've got, they have engagements with the mainstream, shall I say. Let me put it like that. You know what I mean? Luckily, not all of us do. Some of us can navigate around the world without having to be involved with, you know, slimy, slippery creatures with scales and tentacles. Yeah, but yeah, it's been a bit like that, man. But the one thing is happening is that we're getting good feedback about us allowing people to talk the talk and allowing a community to grow as well. So yeah, and it's really good to see people come back as well. Shout out to all our regulars and big up to all the new listeners as well, man. Please spread the word. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. We are planning to move the shit you might not never know nothing about channel to what should I say? Yeah, the stream to a different channel, just because obviously, you know, mixing it up with the music stuff could get me in a bit of trouble on that side. You know, we just got to be safe and sound with it all. But we appreciate that you lot don't mind us talking the talk, and especially the guests that we come on as well, that we get to come on as well, talking their truth. You know what I mean? Their reality. I just feel that it's really important because that was the one thing for me that I think was sending people a bit crazy, was the fact that they couldn't really talk their truth or talk their reality. And you also had people that I think kind of were leaning more towards like, yeah, this doesn't make sense, but because of whether it be family or close ones around them, it's easy to be influenced by the people around you just to say like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, man's got to chill. Man's got to chill. So, yeah, man. Big up to the crew. Shout out to Gleam. Good to see you in here, brother. Tonight's going to be a good one, man. We're going to get into... I wanted to chat to this guy for a minute, and it actually, even starting this podcast, this was one of the guys that I wanted to speak to from a while ago because of the fact that the benefits of this product are like... It's almost... Do you know what I mean? I want to say untapped in a certain sense because a lot of us use CBD products, but we don't have no idea how much they can help people that really, really, you know, are in a bad place and whatnot with all of this. So yeah, chatting to our guest today is going to be a lot of fun, man. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, it's been fun. Shout out to Smokey Joe and the kid and the crew. Really been looking after me out here in Bordeaux. Had a lot of fun rehearsing. You know, basically been rapping since Sunday and starting at like 10 o'clock in the morning. People who know hip hop know rappers. We're not morning people. Like no one raps in the morning unless it's Christmas presents that you forgot to do the night before for the kids and shit. That's about it. Or if you're going to the sauna, maybe you might rap yourself up. But it's kind of weird rapping. But yo, shout out to my brother.
Not even.
Huh?
No. Yeah, you don't wrap up in the sauna. No.
Not even. Yeah. Nah, you know what I mean? But shout out to my brother Yoshi, the original. He's a French rapper from Paris. And he's joined us. He's like the new member of the band. And it's really been fun having another MC on stage, going back and forth with as well. We've written stuff for the show, as well as like we have a track together on the Smokey Joe and the Kid brand new album, which is called War Is Over. And that's out right about now in all your digital stores and whatnot. You can get vinyl, CDs, tapes. You might even be able to get mini discs. Nah, Joe. But yeah, so that's out right about now. And it's been a lot of fun working with the guys. As I say, man, as I've said before, when it comes to like shows and putting on an experience, like these guys, they don't play around. The French lot don't play around. I learned a little bit more about the culture in terms of the arts. And there is quite a thing here about looking after the arts. I want to find out a bit more so we can really talk about it. But basically, like, it's part of the reason why I can even be out here. You know, untainted and unfucked with and unprobed. The aliens never got to probe me on the way here. But yeah, it's part of the reason, man. It's pretty amazing as well. But once I find out a bit more full-on information, the idea of it is basically like, look, when you talk about the arts, you're talking about not just the artists that are performing or painting or playing music and whatnot, but also the people behind it, the production. So meaning like camera crew, lighting, you know, promoters, like all these different people that your government might need to, you know, especially if there's like some election going on and you want people to make sure that the things are being broadcasted properly. And so, yeah, there's some weird thing going on where it's like, oh, right, so these lot actually have to be looked after because they need them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and that's actually part of the reason that I was even able to get out, because people were saying, you know, we were trying to work it out, D, and they were saying like, yeah, if you're working in France, then you can, like, if you're employed in France, then you should be able to get over there. It's like, nah, this lockdown, like, you can't even do that.
So,
but luckily for me, it was like, you know, a bit deeper than that, man. So it's amazing. But all I'm going to say is, yo, count your blessings, you lot. Like, we are lucky in the UK, as messed up as it is right now in terms of your freedom and being able to do what you want. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like China over here, bruv. I ain't, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sugarcoat it, or should I say, I'm not going to, what are they called? What's the covering on the rice crackers?
Yogurt? What, on the rice crackers?
Is it yogurt on rice crackers?
What, the ones with like a white...
Yeah,
like a white covering on it. Yeah, some sort of
wherever that is. I ain't gonna coat it with that. But yeah, it is a bit crazy. I'm looking forward to get back and you know what I mean, just live a bit more freedom. So welcome, mother lovers. What else is there? Yes, Yamor, she's right. Very glad to hear the non-probing by the aliens. That's exactly it. I ain't trying to get probed by no aliens. You know what I mean? Save the abductions. It's on TV. That's the only place I ever seen that shit. So why should I believe that happens in real life? Do you know what I mean? That's how we have to roll. Who else is there? I just saw someone's name as well, but never mind all that. So yeah, I'm sitting here in the hotel room, same studio as last time. D's actually in the same studio as last time as well. And you mother lovers are with us this week for some more shit you might not never know nothing about. I'm not blazing, but I want to find out what you lot are blazing out there. Let us know what flavors are going on with. I can't wait to get back because I got some sacks of, what have I got back home? I've got some, fuck, I can't even remember. Oh yeah, cola cubes, a strain called cola cubes. And then Shark OG. Whoa. Yeah, I can't wait to get back and hit both of them. Why? I'm about to like fumigate out the studio, D. So you better not be around the next. Yeah, because I'm quarantined, of course. Yeah,
oh yeah. No, I won't. I'm not going to come into this room. We'll still be doing the podcast from two different rooms. So because you'll be quarantining, I'm not allowed to go near you. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm quarantining in the other room.
You'll be in here
so
with your bucket, with your little jars of piss everywhere and ashtray. I'll just leave the ashtrays outside. I'll empty them. I'll help you out.
Can I leave my piss
Yeah,
bottles
just
out
leave
there
them
as well?
outside. Yeah, I put them in the sink. Oh, that just dripped into a bucket though anyway, didn't it? So I just have to empty the bucket.
we still have to do the episode where you
Oh
actually drink
yeah,
your
I'm
pee
ready
on
for that. Yeah, I've been saving it up at home in big jars.
Do you do so? What is it? You save it and then you're meant to like put cotton wool or something like that so that it kind of gets air, but not enough air that it stinks out the place.
You can
Is that
save
it?
it
What
for
is it?
stuff. Yeah, you can use it for different things but it turns to ammonia really quickly if you save it. So you have to really drink it straight away. You know, drink it
Well, that's
warm.
what I saw this guy saying that. Well, there's a guy, his name's allegedly Dave, and I saw something recently where he said like the pee actually saved his life. I really want to chat to him because he was saying, so this guy lives in a motorhome and he found out it was that after a few months, he realized like his breathing was kind of off. And then there was one night where he kind of had a panic attack, and he was really shallow breathing. And, you know, it got to that point where it was just like, yo, okay, I don't know what's going on, but something doesn't feel right. And then he collapsed or whatnot and he couldn't move. But he realized he needed to pee. And then, so he managed to get like, I think it was a bottle or a glass or whatever, but managed to pee into that. And then he just thought, oh, maybe I should drink, you know, he does urine therapy. He actually like, he's, you know, a guy that he's quite a specialist in it. So he's like, oh, okay, maybe I should drink the pee. And then so he drank it. And then he said, wow, after that, he started feeling a lot better. Yeah, this is some shit you might not never know nothing about. And then he did that. And then he managed to get himself off to the hospital, to A&E, and then asked them if they could put him on a nebulizer. And he had a reason for that. So it wasn't that he wanted to use the nebulizer for what they'd usually give it for. I think he said he tried some of it, but it wasn't, you know, it did a bit better than he thought it would, but obviously it wasn't what he was there for. And then he said, okay, you know, once they'd finished and said, he was like, yeah, I feel a bit better. He's like, can I get the mask? Can I keep the mask? And so he was saying, for people that don't know, when you get given a mask in hospital, that's it. It's only used once. They don't use it on other people. So it gets thrown away. So they were happy to give it to him. And so he took it, and it's like a nebulizer. It's like a mask thing, but then it's got this little, you know, sort of container bit. And that's where you'd put the solution for, you know, the nebulizer solution. He put his pee in it. So he put his pee in it, and he even shows it on the video there. I'll try and post the link. We'll probably put it into the Telegram group. So join the shit
if
you
you're
might
into,
not never know nothing about Telegram.
If you want to see a piss bong, then come into the
it's a piss bong. And so he says he's been doing it for a matter of weeks or whatever, and then he's recovering way better than he thought he would and whatnot.
That's good.
So it's something you lot might want to try, man.
You could just try it by soaking a handkerchief in piss, in your own piss, and just occasionally, you know, get it out and just take a little breath of it in, and similar sort of thing.
Wow, Kenny Rebels deep. He said put it in a bong, keep it for a bong. I wonder how that will work. But yo, he said he goes like his mate, he vapes, you know, like the cigarette vape, like the, you know what I'm talking about, the vape thing. And he said to his brethren, like, because his brethren had some kind of issue with his lungs or whatever, and he said to him, vape the piss. That my man vaped the piss and he's better now.
There you go. It's got everything you need in it. You don't need anything else. It's got everything you need.
Look at your boys like, I'll pass. Thanks, Jess.
Right,
DJ Protrack says, piddly bubbly.
You're missing out on the golden waters.
Yeah, see? Gleam, no, that's why like Gleam's got, like, he's deep, man. He goes, you're more 100% allegedly Dave. Does a lot of free man of the land and flat earth stuff. Yeah, he's on this flat earth thing as well, man. Like, it'll be good to get him on and see what he's saying. He's quite a character as well, man. He's quite a serious dude, but you just find him funny.
Yeah.
So yeah. But right, so after that, talking a load of piss, think we should start talking about cannabinoids. Cannabinoids. I'd always called them cannabinoids, but now I feel like a dickhead because they're called cannabinoids.
Cannabinoids.
Right. CBD is short for cannabidiol. This is a non-psychoactive cannabinoid found in the cannabis plant. And I'm reading this right now off of Cannaseurs UK. Our guest coming up is going to be Sam Gibbons, who's the CEO of Cannaseurs UK and a good friend. I've known him for a while. Like I said, when I started the podcast, or even I think even before I started the podcast, I was like, yeah, I'd love to chat to this guy if I ever did a podcast about the benefits of CBD. Obviously, there's been a lot of misinformation over the years, you know, regardless of whether Holland and Barrett is selling the shit. Somebody's got to come out and say, yeah, but CBD, actually, that could give you cancer. So, like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't fuck with CBD. Unless you get it from Holland and Barrett, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd like to chat to this guy for sure, because it's been, you know what I mean, a long time coming. And this is a guy that I know has been down with this shit for a long time. I was introduced to him via Manage, and how Manage introduced me to him was like, this guy is more, he said he's like a shaman of cannabis, like that. He introduced on that level where he's like, yeah, this guy's like a doctor around my way in terms of how he's looking after people, the elderly, people with all sorts of different problems. So yeah, we're going to chat to him right about now. Have you got him in?
There he is.
Yeah, there he goes. There he goes. What's going on?
Right?
Let's get some fire emojis, some plant emojis, whatever the hell you want right about now, and give him a warm welcome, man. Sam Gibbons, CEO of Cannaseurs UK. A real pleasure to have you on, brother.
Oh, mate, absolute pleasure to be here, mate. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Like you're saying, long overdue.
Okay.
Nice one.
Yeah, man. Nah, definitely, brother. I mean, like I said, man, from all the way back then, you know, you put me on really into what it was about and what the benefits are of it. And then obviously once I tried your product, it was like, oh, you know, like I said, Mrs. Mice was like, it's a game changer. You know what I mean? For that, especially for the time of the month sort of stuff, because it's like, I guess there's a level of it relaxes you, relaxes the muscles and whatnot. And so you kind of have a lot less pain. And I've used it for when I was training like heavy. You know, I was training quite hard, and I noticed the difference from when I didn't use it, from when you know, from when
That's
I did.
The main thing everyone says really is that they really notice when they're not taking it. It's like, you know, because the thing is, it will improve your well-being. It will just make you feel better all round. It will improve recovery time if you're exercising. Like, it just improves mood, enables you to relax, sleep better, eat better. But like, obviously that becomes pretty much a way of life if you're using it all the time. So most people then, when you stop taking it, it's like, shit, wow, I'm really noticing the difference. So yeah, it's ages ago, isn't it? When I first met up with you, long time ago, man. So yeah, we've been doing this.
It's longer than 7 years, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing. I remember I started making oil for people probably about 8 or 9 years ago. And then about 7 years ago, I came across, I found a passion for rosin, which is a certain type of extraction, which is solventless extraction. And then we started to, instead, like, you know, most people will just, I remember actually you getting a bit of rosin off me originally. The extract, people would dab it or vape it or whatever they would do.
Yeah, boy.
And I came up with the idea, obviously, you know, Rick Simpson oil and all that sort of stuff. And I came up with the idea about 7 years ago to think, okay, if we've got this stuff that people are smoking, and you smoke it and heat it to decarboxylate it, because then it converts it to THC and you get high and all of that. I was thinking, can we not just like decarboxylate this extract into just oil? So it's like a solventless version of Rick Simpson oil. So we haven't got any alcohol. None of that extraction. We're just taking the straight extract. We heat it in an oven at 110 degrees, and it converts it into a liquid oil, which you can just eat. So instead of like, you might have a 0.1 of a gram on a dab rig, and then you hit that, you can just eat a 0.1, and the efficiency of that, you will be high for hours. It will, yeah, it's amazing, mate. It's literally, it's not just changed, like, you know, I've been treating people for a long time with it, but these days I take at least 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams of decarbed rosin every day. And
serious,
mate, yeah, it's a game changer, mate. It's an absolute game changer. It's this month for me now. It's my main passion, because for what I've seen it do for people is absolutely amazing. And I'm talking, I've seen people that are pretty well, they are suicidal, go from being suicidal to be within like 2 weeks of taking this oil. They are walking down the road saying, mate, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm proper like smiling walking down the road. I've got like this sense of like proper a sense of like well-being. I'm like loving life. It's really weird how it can so quickly, it can take someone's mind state and it can bring you back down to some sort of balance. Very interesting.
There are no side effects as such either, are there? Like compared
other
to
than getting high.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is other than getting high, but in terms of like because what we're talking about now still has THC in it on a level that is psychoactive, right?
Yes, definitely.
And so there are people that may, normally they don't really smoke or whatnot, but in terms of taking it like this, as an edible, let's say, the effects are going to be slightly different, and it's more going to be running through your body as opposed to just up in your head. And so it's not so much you're messing with you psychologically. Is that correct?
No, it's not. It's a completely different high. Most people feel it come up through their, like, either through their legs, up through their gut, and it is more intense, I would say. It's what people say, like a body stone, where your whole body's feeling it rather than you just getting a bit high in your head. I mean, smoking it, don't know if you know, like smoking it at the temperatures that you smoke a joint at, or even dabbing to a certain degree, unless you're doing it at the really low temperatures, you're destroying 75% of the compounds. So straight off the bat, you're wasting 3/4 of it by smoking it. So it's
say that again.
Yeah,
that slowly.
So straight off the bat, when you're smoking it and you're combusting it, you're combusting it at such a high temperature that you're actually destroying 75% of the compounds. So you're only getting a quarter of what you could actually get off the plant when you smoke it. Whereas if you decarboxylate it at a low temperature where you're not destroying any of the cannabinoids, and then you consuming it orally, then you're getting 100% efficiency. So straight off the bat, it's just so much better in that respect. You're not wasting it. So a lot of people don't sort of know that. And like for me, I used to dab.
Man.
I used to love my dabs. I used to like be hitting dab rigs like every day, but I'd be smoking sometimes like 2-3 grams of extract a week. Whereas like for me, I could be taking a 0.1 of a gram per day, and I can only get through a 0.7 of a gram in a week. And yet I'll be high from say 6 in the evening. I could take it at 6, and I'll be high till 10. I'll get well hungry, and then I'll sleep really well that night, and I can just do that every night, and it's so much more effective and efficient than smoking.
Wow.
And don't get me wrong, I love smoking, man. Like, I absolutely love smoking. There's no doubt about that. I can't get away from the smoking because I just love the flavors. But in terms of getting high, these days, I'm not smoking to get high at all. I don't even notice. Like, I could smoke all day long and not notice myself high, because of the oil that's in me is the overriding factor. Like literally, I get a bit of a head high when you smoke, but it's the oil is a lot more. It takes precedence over anything that you might be smoking. So it's
pretty amazing, man.
It's
because like you're saying, you take it, and that probably is sort of let's say that's the predominant factor in your high, is like the oil. But then because of that, you can blaze, and it's not like you're not getting to that zoned out stage of like paranoia
no.
And so is that because in oil it's also high in the CBD as opposed to just the THC?
Yeah. So that that's like the THC side of things obviously completely illegal. The CBD side of things, which we've been doing since 2017. The whole plant extract it's got so many different cannabinoids in it. So CBD, CBG, CBDA, CBC, CBG, CBN, all the fats, all the terpenes. So like as an actual CBD product, that's what I'm really passionate about, because it's got, other than it's still got a small amount of THC, small amount, trace level amounts, and it's a safe amount, although currently as the law stands now, it would be technically illegal because it's got too much THC. They want to bring it down to pretty much nothing. But yeah, that CBD whole plant extract is amazing. Like for people that don't want to get high, for other than say, I would say mainly cancer, epilepsy, mainly those two really is the ones that spring to mind. Like everything else, CBD can pretty much deal with, and without the need for actually getting high. Where there's certain more serious, which is that's the annoying thing about it, is because it's completely illegal, the THC, and yet the more serious ailments need the illegal stuff more. So you're in this catch-22 position where for most people they can just use CBD and it's fine, and for the people that have got cancer, for people that are suffering from like seizures, I've got a girl who's she's 50, no, she's probably 16 now actually, and she talking about vaccines, funny enough, she had the HPV vaccine. I don't know if you know about that. It's like
it's the pointless one, the other pointless one.
Yeah, it is. It's like a genital wart, and it's so little amount of people get it, and yet they give it now to all school children at 14, 15. And anyway, this girl was completely fit and healthy, had the vaccine, and within 24 hours she was developing like severe epileptic seizures, and she got to the point where she's having up to 4 a day, losing like 25% of her oxygen every time she was having it. So it was like really permanently damaging her brain. It was making her suicidal, super depressed, and I made an oil for her, which is actually certain terpenes work really well with epilepsy, mainly limonene. So when you're smoking your lemon haze and all that sort of stuff that really smells of lemon, that has some really, really good anti-seizure properties. And also the raw version of THC, so before it gets heated and it's in its raw version, which isn't even psychoactive, you have to heat it to turn it into that psychoactive compound. So the raw version of that is really, really good for anti-seizure. So by putting in some THCA, some raw stuff in a very small amount of THC, in with the CBD whole plant extract and some limonene, some of the lemon terpenes, it goes up and down, but she's basically gone for, after she was going for every day having at least 4 electric seizures, she went for 11 weeks without having one seizure. And they'd had all sorts of different oils, different like medicines that they were trying, none of them really doing anything, and this has like pretty much stopped it in its tracks, and it's literally given this girl her life back. It's absolutely amazing.
That's crazy.
You know, but unfortunately, as I'm going back to the original point, that needed like some illegal compounds to go in there. And these days, like because of the way the government are going with this and the way that I felt a little bit like silence from when I set the CBD company up in 2017, because I was sort of trying to protect that. And, you know, I was trying to follow everything right and, you know, do things by the books and say, like, you know, we're not even advertising, we're not making any claims or doing any of this. And obviously I won't talk about THC and all this sort of stuff. But it's got to the point now where I've got like a moral obligation. A lot of the people in the know
I can sense the attitude.
We're being silenced and we can't speak, yet the general public don't know what's going on. And if we're not careful, we're going to end up in a situation where there's basically no CBD products on the market that are effective. There's going to be either synthetic or CBD isolate, which just doesn't work. And then on the other side of it, you already now got private cannabis dispensary clinics like set up for people. And if you've got the right money, you can pay like 800 quid, £1,000 a month. You can get products, but these products are terrible. You know, you can get flour that's moldy, like literally the black market they're talking about, where skunk, as it were. You get it on the black market. The stuff that's been grown on the street is so much better quality and much more medicinal than any of this stuff that's coming in these private medicinal clinics. So you can sort of see where it's going to go, where they're almost going to make out as if it's now accessible, but what you're accessing isn't the real medicine. So it's going to be on everybody still. All I'm telling everybody at the moment is just grow. Really, it is that sort of. There's so many people now, particularly with COVID, that have had their cancer treatments delayed, feeling like they're not being treated right, or they're being put to the back of the line, and they want to take some sort of control over their own illness. And then they're reading and they're seeing cannabis oil, and it's an epidemic level, mate. Honestly, it's crazy the amount of people now that are taking cannabis oil for cancer, but yeah, it's still completely illegal. They don't really know where to go and get it. And like I say, if you can go to a private dispensary clinic, like a medical clinic, you can pay serious money, but the oils that you're getting are nowhere near the type of oil that you need in terms of and the compounds in there to be even looking at trying to do anything to cancer.
So is there a difference between in terms of like the benefits? Is there a difference between the flower, like
Yeah.
I was telling you, like here in France, there are shops open. There's about well, I'm in Bordeaux, and apparently there's 15 to 20 CBD shops where you can go and
Yeah.
buy the bud and whatnot. But is there quite a difference between the benefits of the bud compared to the oil? Or is that obviously just depending on who's making the product, who's
I mean, yeah, to be fair though, yeah, so like you could like good friends of mine who they're the only people in the UK that can actually like grow CBD bud, as it were, and then extract it, which is like CBD Brothers, the original alternative. So they're out in Guernsey, and they've been given first license out there. Yeah,
That's why
it's like
they're in Guernsey.
yeah, and it's like a trial thing out there just to sort of see what will happen, and they're trying to control their own the products on their own island rather than having any importation coming in. So they've given them the license to grow, and in essence what they're actually doing is they're taking the CBD bud and then they're pressing it in the way that I'm talking about, using the rosin method, 10-ton press, low temperatures, pressing it and extracting the oil off it that way. So yeah, it's the different, the CBD bud and the THC you buy on the market. All the only differences with that is that one's basically got hardly any THC in it, and pretty much everything else has got all the other compounds in it. And the bud that you're pretty much buying on the street, whilst it might be up to like 30% THC sometimes, like the CBD content is very often like under 1%. So that's the difference, really. You've just got high THC flower, and then you've got CBD bud, which is just, it contains a lot more of the other compounds, but doesn't contain the THC. Again, that's completely illegal in the UK, the CBD bud. A lot of people don't realise that.
Oh, is it? CBD bud's illegal?
It's crazy, mate. What? So many shops are selling it. So many shops will swear blind that we've been told that we can do it and all this stuff. How it works in the UK, right, is that CBD bud is hemp, in essence. Yeah, it's a version of hemp. Yeah, just different amounts of CBD. You can't grow hemp. You can grow hemp, but you only use the stalk and the seed in the UK. It's different in France. It's different in Italy. Different in Spain. There they can harvest the flower, and so all the CBD companies in the UK. This is the mad thing. Again, a lot of people don't know this. All the CBD companies in the UK, no one's growing their own CBD and extracting it. Growing their own hemp and extracting the CBD from that hemp grown in the UK. And if they are doing it, it's illegal. You're not allowed to do it. You have to burn it and destroy it. You have to burn it and destroy the flower, the hemp flower. You can only use the stalk and the seed to make textiles, hemp seed oil, clothing, rope, whatever it is. You cannot produce CBD in the UK. It's completely illegal.
So wait. All right, so okay, I remember a couple years ago, because this is really baffling now, but I remember a couple years ago there was the whole hoo-ha when obviously we had like a few of the smoke venues and all that, and then some of them started to get licked and whatnot. And then there was the whole thing about like how messed up this is, because Theresa May's husband,
that's right, Philip May,
actually owns some kind of CBD plant or something like that, and then people, the whole thing people used to say is like, "Right, do you know who's the biggest exporter producer of cannabis in the world? Biggest producer and exporter is like who?" And they'll be like UK. And like, what?
Yeah, man, we do. We produce and export the most amount of it. So while so basically what happens? So you get this.
That's some shit you might never know nothing about.
Nah.
By the way.
Most people think that CBD is like the legal, accessible one, and like CBD. And when I say CBD, that's just one compound within the hemp plant. So let's just say hemp, as it were. Yeah, hemp is where CBD comes from. Yeah, in this country, you can't even if you've got a hemp license to grow hemp, you can't extract the hemp. You can't take the CBD from the hemp. Yet, when it comes to high THC flower. You've got Philip May, who's part of it's actually British Sugar, the main ones that are doing it. They do it down here as well at Planet Earth. They grow a load down here. And they're growing high THC flower, the same stuff that Theresa May and Victoria Adkins, who was the drugs minister, I don't think she's anymore. Her husband also owns shares in British Sugar. So she's on one hand, they're one hand saying cannabis, like THC, it's harmful, dangerous drug. There's no medicinal value. Yet they've got plants all around the UK. They grow 90 tons of it. Yeah, they're exporting 90 tons of skunk, high THC flower. It's not CBD or nothing. It's straight THC flower.
Exporting it to where?
US, Canada, all over the world, Israel, and they're then using it for medicine. And yet at the same time, whilst our government are selling that for that purpose, they're telling the British public you can't have access to it because it's harmful and it does you no good and there's no medicinal value to it. The situation we're in, the UK is the most fucked up, bizarre, backwards. The whole thing contradicts itself. No one has a clue what's going on, and it feels like it's almost like they've made it even more confused in the last few years, so almost people don't get involved in it. They don't want. Like I always thought, even when we started Cannaseurs, it was a bit like, let's get our foot in the door, but it was a bit like, what's going on here? Are they actually going to allow normal people to like make something from this? And yet 4 years later we're being shunted out of the CBD industry by going through a novel food licensing that we basically they're going to cut out all THC. Any products are going to be rejected. Yet on the same hand, you've got like THC farms where they're growing high THC flower and making millions out of it, exporting it all over the world. So like where are we and what is going on in the UK? It just doesn't make any sense. There's hemp farmers that grow hemp and they have to burn mass amounts of hemp flower because they can't. Then the minute it leaves the farm, it becomes illegal. So, mate, being in this
say that
industry,
again. The minute it leaves the farm, it becomes
illegal. It becomes illegal. Yeah.
This is weird, bro.
Yeah.
So they just have the license they have then is just to sort of just grow it. Is that it? And then like what?
Yeah, and use the stalk and seed.
Right.
So you can make hemp seed oil. You could take the stalk, and make like fiber, rope, maybe hemp clothing or. So they make hemp protein powder and stuff.
Hemp building
farmers
materials, I suppose, are made out of hemp.
But you've got this CBD market where they're saying it's worth like it's worth about £1 billion or whatever it is now, and you've got all the hemp farmers in the UK that can't utilise that. They're completely restricted. Then you've got the CBD companies like myself, who we have to import our CBD from. We import ours from Spain and from Holland.
Right.
So,
Jesus,
where
man.
in those countries they're allowed to grow hemp. I know it is, but they do this on purpose. They're doing this on purpose so that people can't get a grasp of what's actually going on. And when they take control of it and take it out of everybody's hands, everyone's going to say, "What? How did that happen? How was that allowed to happen?" Well, because no one had a clue what was going on. No one really knew where they stood or how it was going to like move forward. So yeah, it's mad time. It's a mad time to be in this. I mean, for me, I'm just focusing on like medicine, whether that's CBD. We infuse for different patients that may need different things. I might take CBD whole plant extract, mix it in with some THC, and create different ratios and for me, I'm just making sure that we can still do that for people. The rest of it, in terms of the actual business, the industry. I dread to think in a couple of years' time where we're going to be. We'll probably have the CBD market will be controlled and owned by about 5 different companies, very large companies. And talking earlier about with the THC growing and how the government ministers always got someone that they know, family member, someone involved in it. It's what's going on at the moment with the CBD companies. I'm pretty sure it's just again giving away contracts to mates where they're giving the licensing. It's £2 billion to be made out of this. They don't want people like me or you or whoever it is, making serious amounts of money by helping people. That was always the thing about this. I thought we had the opportunity to actually, we're genuinely doing good and helping people, and at the same time, let's make a successful business out of that. Where we are now, it looks like I'll continue on until the day comes when there's an actual enforcement officer. To be honest, that's just the company thing. I can't carry on the company after that point, but in terms of just making oils and helping people, would be doing that. That's a moral obligation. It's as simple as that. So
big up, man. I mean, the thing is, you were doing it before as well, so it's like for this to stop you would be crazy. So all right, let's get into this, because Turbo Tubalicious, shout out to Tubbs, locked in. He says, I've given CBD to people and it helps with lots of different things, from receding gums to cerebral palsy. So can you list a few of the sort of like some of the, I'm sure you've had some situations that where you've been like, boy, I don't know if this can even help, but let's just see. And where you've been like, oh, right, there's been a result. If you could list a few sort of conditions.
First of all, because a lot of people, if they're not in the know, I swear sometimes people like hear these things and hear that many different ailments that is helping, but they sort of go, yeah, can't be doing that. But because they don't understand what it's actually doing. When you know about the endocannabinoid system that we all have, and we're producing cannabinoids naturally in our bodies anyway. Yeah, so in regulating the immune system, the nervous system, you've got endocannabinoid receptors all over your skin, all in your major organs. So you're built to not only produce cannabinoids, you're built to take them in externally and receive them. And when you understand that, like who's been like hemp was eaten like as a staple part of diet. It's a superfood. It's one of the most nutritional foods on the planet. That was eaten for thousands of years. It was only like up to 1930 they cut it out of. No one was, the British Empire used to enforce hemp production. They used to make any farmer had to grow 2 hectares of hemp. That was just standard.
Serious?
Even if you didn't want to, you had to grow it.
It's good for the land anyway, so it should be. And it's quick. You have a quick turnaround, so it's a really quick harvest on it. You can get 3 or 4 harvests in a year.
No downsides to it.
That makes sense.
So they outlawed it, and so from that point, you got to remember it was fed to all the farm animals. So that was hemp was their main diet. So they were massively rich in cannabinoids. Their whole bodies was, everything was like they were like boosted with cannabinoids. Human beings were eating it. We just don't consume it. So for the last joint.
No, it's not really. No,
really?
It's not.
So I'm always a bit slow and I'm like, really?
Dad will do that to you now and again.
100 years of like not consuming cannabis and hemp means that we're in a position where most of the things you're seeing and like this, for example, ailments. I'll give you the best example for this is fibromyalgia. That is a completely misunderstood ailment, and doctors a lot of the time, like, people feel really bad because they feel like they're being completely undermined and the doctors don't believe them and they're in excruciating pain, but there's no actual like cause, or they can't determine what it actually is. Fibromyalgia, like the research, there's a group in the UK that there's evidence to show now that it's an endocannabinoid deficiency disease.
Wow.
So and that's why it's when people then consume cannabinoids, it's why it has such an effect. It's because it's literally replacing all the cannabinoids that your body's not producing itself. You're supplementing it externally, and then you're providing like what is known as like, is it giving like a homeostasis? It's like optimal balance in the body, regulating the immune system, the nervous system, and just making sure it's all working properly. So yeah, it's I would say number one, obviously people heard about the cancer side, and there's actual studies now to show that you've got THC producing cell apoptosis, which is basically it strangles the tumor cell, sort of stops the oxygen getting to it and kills the tumors.
Wow.
CBD has been proven in this Californian Medical Institute. This is on humans now, that like high doses of CBD prevents metastasis, which is anybody that's had a primary cancer. The big danger is that it goes from, say, being a lung cancer, gets into your lymph nodes, travels around the body and gets into other places. And that's really when the danger starts, is, you're just trying to, it's gone there, it's now here, it's there. CBD in high dosages, and this is trials on humans in California, has been shown to block metastasis. So it stops the cancer getting into the lymph nodes and moving elsewhere. So you can contain it and then treat it in that specific primary location. Fascinating. And then I would just so cancer, epilepsy, autism. I've seen children, honestly, I've had parents just like crying, saying they can't believe they're able to communicate with their children for the first time ever. Their child's able to tell them what's the matter with them, and actually communicate. ADHD, I've had clinics with adults that are living in clinics, like living sort of places with serious ADHD and mental issues, and it got to the point where his sort of GP and the medics in this place were telling him to come off his Ritalin and to just use his CBD because it was so clearly having so much of a better effect with him.
Oh, serious.
So that's one. I mean, anxiety is the biggest one for CBD in particular. There is no doubt about it that I've actually got musicians that, funny enough, you would know, and people that you'd never think music's like that, and everyone portrays a certain thing, and you never think that they've got anxiety and they can't even get onto the stage. There's
very little anxiety rap tracks out there. You're right. Yeah.
no
one's addressing anxiety.
I'm cool. I'm sweet.
Everyone's the coolest dude on road, boy.
I've had rappers saying to me like,
Mum spaghetti. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I've had people saying they can't leave the house without it, and when they performing, it just takes off that edge and enables them to just sort of get up and just do their thing. So rheumatoid arthritis is a big one for sure. A lot of people take it for that and get really good benefits. It really is. If you've got any issues,
the thing is, it's worth trying, ain't it? So if you've got an issue and nothing else has worked, why don't people just try it? You're not going to lose anything.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, when I said to you about we've all got an endocannabinoid system. Yeah, we're built to receive cannabinoids. So in my opinion, everybody should be consuming it every single day, to some degree. Whether that's CBD, other compounds, whether that's THC, you should be consuming it every day to just keep it on top.
Because like you said, we actually, there was a time when majority of people were eating it in the UK and whatnot. So there's obviously
a big part of diet. Yeah, a big part of the diet.
So how would they be eating it then though? Like what, I'm trying to think.
Well, through the animals.
It's part of a veg. It was if you go back to Queen Victoria, was like a massive advocate for cannabis, and there's actual recipes. When there were recipes that they were cooking.
But also the animals you're eating are eating it, and so you're only as good as the animals you eat, really. So
Indeed, they were rich. Even cow's milk. They've done to show that, even they say about breast milk. Madly, this is something again that people might not know about. So mother's breast milk is packed full of endocannabinoids. Packed.
Wow. Is that why they come off like, hey, they're wired? Yeah. They're like, right. Well, you looking at me like
it is.
Start dancing. The baby start dancing.
No, honestly, mate, it might sound people laughing, but there is actually some truth. There is actually some truth to that. There is some truth to that. And the same. So check this out. So if you love your exercise, and when you exercise, this was done on a BBC documentary, right, on BBC One about the heart. It was an hour-long program about the heart, and there was a section that it was this Dr. Michael Mosley, and he was saying, this is done at the university in Oxford, that they tested people. You can test your endocannabinoids levels. Yeah, Israel are massive on this. Yeah, to see if you have deficiencies. And what they're showing is if you do an hour's worth of strenuous exercise, your body, the whole point of that, your body produces huge amounts of endocannabinoids. That's what it's doing. And so then the natural high that you might get, the appetite that you get after exercise, all of these different things are actually coming from the endocannabinoids.
Oh my days.
This is almost, people think, oh man, you're like, this is coming now from Dr. Mosley at the BBC. This is like what this stuff is. It's out there if you want to look into it, and it goes to show just how imperative and how important that system is to the human body. But
I ain't gonna lie, I don't really trust the BBC as much, but I will say this is that I 100% believe that, because there's times when after training you can feel like you're buzzing. There's this weird kind of
the
high.
Natural high.
Yeah, and then there's also, like you said, the munchies can kick in like crazy. Like the Muay Thai coach, he always used to be like, "Yo, are you who's up for Nando's after training?" And we'd be doing 2.5 hours training, and by the end of it, you'd think that it's because you're thinking of the Nando's that you're mad hungry, but it's like you said, it's another level of like, yo, I've got the munchies. This ain't just hunger type thing. And then the other thing is as well, the sleep.
Yep.
It's like how well you sleep after a good day's training, like you sleep like crazy. And that's another aspect of like what I'm understanding cannabinoids can. Is I saying that right?
It is. It is cannabinoids. So the endocannabinoids, which are just internal cannabinoids, they're produced in huge amounts when you exercise. So of course it's a catch-22. So for people that are like not well and they can't physically exercise and do all those things, you're not producing. So it's like compounding. So you're not producing any internal cannabinoids, and that in itself is then going to lead to deficiencies, which is going to lead to, like, say for example, let's just take vitamin C. If you don't eat vitamin C, you end up getting scurvy. Yeah, that's like a deficiency. That's a vitamin C deficiency.
Yeah.
But vitamin C is like, you know what I mean? It's in a lot of fruits, all these different things that people are consuming. So we get enough of that in our body. Same way if you get an iron deficiency, you get anemia, your hair starts falling out, you get these different, it's exactly the same. Cannabis is that important, that the cannabinoids are that important to the human body, that if we don't externally get that in our diet, we start noticing deficiencies and we start noticing ailments that come from that. And that is just in the simplest way, though, because it can be quite complex sometimes. The plant is like, we even now, like, you know, I like to think this is my main passion, and I know nothing. You know what I mean? We're still 100 years of prohibition. Like, if you imagine Anna being outlawed in 1937 or whatever it was, we'd have 100 years of knowledge and depth of just people still consuming it, oils being made for medicines. Like, we are 100 years behind. Like, we're at like a primitive level where even now when I'm treating people and there's you know, we're getting stuff like, I was treating a guy with lung cancer, terminal lung cancer, and he saw his tumors reduced by like 80%. Yeah, and we were using an oil which is actually now my like go-to oil for most things, which is like a 5-to-1 THC to CBD oil. So it's about 60% THC and about 12% CBD. And I was at I was at this cannabis convention in Birmingham, and there was a doctor there, and he's an American guy. And I just overheard this conversation. He was talking to this lady about how now in the US, they're showing that particularly for lung cancer, this 5-to-1 oil is like having a mate. And I'm literally standing there listening to this going, are you kidding? I hadn't had our oil tested at that point. And I remember saying to my mate, man, I wonder if that oil that we're giving to Tony that's doing that on his lung tumours, I wonder if that's a 5-to-1. And it was literally pretty much spot on a 5-to-1. But that then goes to show that, like, say for a lung tumour, it might need a specific ratio of oil and compounds. Then you might then have someone that's got bladder cancer, and you try and go and give them that same oil, and it may not be the combination that they need. It's so complex in terms of what is needed for each, you know, like unlocking like a key to every ailment as to what combination is needed. What, you know, it's like we're still stabbing in the dark massively.
If this don't tell you that these people do not give a fuck about curing you, about making you better, I don't know what does. Because to know that, we all know that this plant has been around for eons, way longer than probably we have. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then the fact that we come along and it's like, yo, there's deeper levels that we communicate with this plant where it actually can help us. Yeah. And then these people, look at how confusing it is now already with whether it can be sold in the UK or not. Exactly. Like, I know there's certain shops I can walk into and they have CBD bud there. So it's weird to hear that this shit's illegal. I was chatting to you the other day about what's going on here. In Bordeaux, they've got 15 to 20 CBD shops, because the whole thing is like, CBD's legal. And then after about a year and a half or 2 years of them selling it legally, all of a sudden the government. And so I found out today, the reason is because the police were saying, like, look, or this is the story they gave out, is that the police were like, look, when we stop people, we don't know whether it's like illegal bud or legal bud. So it's getting a bit confusing. And so the government were like, okay, what should we do? And they said, look, just make it
decriminalize the whole lot then, innit? You know what I mean? Simple as that.
But they're saying, oh, make it illegal, and then that way it's easier for us. And so they made it illegal. Like I was saying, innit, all of a sudden the shops closed. 2 days later, I believe it was like I think it was the state governors were like, nah, that's constitutionally wrong. You can't do that. Like, because of the fact that there were no... it's not proven that there are any detrimental aspects to CBD. So it actually helps more people than it, you know what I mean? Than it doesn't.
It's safe. They're saying it's safe. It's been proven that it's safe. And they're still trying to say it's a narcotic. That's what they're trying to. Europe are trying to say that. Yes, like they're using this old narcotic loophole law And then, but luck, thankfully, I think it was like the European, like the main sort of court sort of overruled it. But I mean, in Spain, just to show you, I mean, it ain't just the UK. In Spain, obviously, you got all the cannabis clubs in Spain. Yeah, so even in Barcelona city centre, you've got 250 clubs. Yeah, where you can go, you can consume high THC bud, edibles, everything you want. You can get everything. It's like a coffee shop, but it's in Spain, and it's probably better than the coffee shops in Dam in terms of the quality. Yet now all the CBD companies in Spain are being told to shut down, and that CBD is completely illegal for internal use, and it's zero tolerance.
Wait.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Rewind that. This is madness, bruv. Hold on. So you're saying in Spain, where is it legal or it's decriminalized or what?
Well, basically, it's there's a loophole around privacy laws. So you're allowed to grow up to 6 plants in private. And what they've done out there is that they then have private members clubs. So for all the people that can't grow, I looked into this when I was out there, all the people that don't have the physical ability to grow can give their right to grow to the club. And then the club can then start growing, like it's like 36 grams a day per person or whatever it is. So imagine you've got 1,000 members signed up. That gives you the license to start growing huge amounts. And then when you go into the club, you have like a little key fob, and you put, say you want to spend 100 quid on weed, you put it on the key fob before you go in the club. And when you go in the club, no money's changing hands. It's almost like you're putting that as a donation to the club. So it's like no transaction takes place, and the Spanish police allow this stuff to go on. It's like a loophole, as it were, and that market's been going on in Spain for like a long time now. It's only been the last 5 years that like the British have cottoned onto it, and everybody's going out there like it's Amsterdam now. Like I love Barcelona, I absolutely love the scene out there. The cannabis scene is amazing. But it, just like I say, it goes to show that you can readily, legally go to 250 different retail places and buy cannabis. Yeah, you have to go and get a membership and go in there, but it's so easy to do. And yet the shops that are selling CBD are literally, they're having it taken off the shelves. So this is happening in, like, it's not just the UK where there's backwards laws going on. You know, you'd think in Spain, where there is a progressive and a common sense policy around THC and around, cannabis flower, that why would CBD be an issue if they're allowing THC to be sold? Do you know what I mean? But it goes to show there's obviously there's other interests, there's other things at play, there's agendas, there's huge amounts of money. Like I say, it's like, excuse me, I saw this mic out. It's like 2 billion in the UK alone. So what
2 billion? Jeez,
yeah, it was about, if we go back about 4 or 5 years ago, it was a 200 million pound industry. Now it's like,
I'm still trying to get my head around this, man. This is confusing, but
a bit mind blowing. Yeah, I know.
I mean, what it kind of says to me is that because there's the one thing of, okay, like with THC, it keeps people, obviously we like, there's benefits in it, but there's a lot of people that it kind of keeps them docile in it. It's like, you get high,
unmotivated, maybe.
Play computer game.
Yeah. Well, it makes doing nothing much better, doesn't it? Which is beneficial to the government, to the powers that be, but then also the fact that there's what it seems like, from just like the stuff you're saying during this talk, is that the CBD side is so beneficial that they're just like, they're gonna say anything they can to just make sure that we don't get the benefits out of it. So basically, it's illegal. We don't get the good stuff. So they'll say that it's illegal even though it isn't. They'll say that it's detrimental even though it isn't. And then if worse comes to it, they'll be like, okay, well, you could sell CBD, but all it can be is just CBD, nothing else in it that's beneficial, that can help people. Which obviously, the idea of full spectrum is meaning that yes, there are other aspects to this that can help you, whether it be your endocrine system and it's just like, right, they're trying anything they can. And so the best thing for us, like, I appreciate what you're doing here, is basically going out on a limb and saying, like, nah, now that I can see for sure, you've already seen that it works anyway, but the fact that they're responding in that way, like, when they say go left, that means we should go right. When they say it's not good, of course.
So it's like, wow, they're really showing it now. And man, I just feel like it's crazy, man, because we're in a time now where we're learning so many different things. And things are popping up, I'm sure, for you, where you're just like, oh, right, I didn't realize it was that deep. But
But
you know,
can you see how, like, even for you, you're saying, man, it's a lot to take in. It's almost so much. There's so much confusion that I'm like, I can see it because I'm obviously like, you know, I've had a lot of time to read, understand it, and break it down. I've had to because it's my livelihood and what I'm doing and stuff. But like for me, then I know what's going on and it's awful. And then trying to shout it though to other people, there's no simple way of putting it. You know, if people say, well, what are you trying to say? Well, I'm going to need about 2 hours to break this down to you. And at the end of the 2 hours, you're probably going to sit in there more confused than when I first started talking to you. This is what they've done. So it's like, you know, I can actually see what's happening and seeing that it's not good the way that it's going. They're trying to, like you're saying, I mean, the thing is that, like, even with the THC, I mean, in this country, they're just trying to kick that down the road because as much as they don't mind like the black market and people using it and like say I'm motivated and all of that, but the other side to that is that, yes, that is true. And so for the people that are just sitting around doing nothing, they're just going to do nothing even more. And that's great for the government if they're just trying to keep people sort of sedated and not really, you know, on things and looking into their own life. But then at the same time, there's the other side to it for the other people that use this plant, and then you start questioning things, and then you do start reading, and you do start getting curious, and you do want to start critically thinking maybe a little bit more. So like in one way it's sort of keeping a lid on things, and on the other way it's actually opening up a whole can of worms where people are becoming a lot more aware. I haven't even touched on the whole thing for me, like the spiritual side of like cannabis, like it really links to the well-being side of things when I say to you about how people feel when they use it on a day-to-day basis. If you take cannabis oil every single day, it's a bit like someone saying like microdosing magic mushrooms, really, like, you know, and you're seeing in the US now about how beneficial this is for people that are depressed, like anxious, suicidal. Exactly the same thing, where if you take it on a day-to-day basis, like, you will notice your mood improve and you will feel better about yourself, and you will start to like it's a strange one to see. I've seen people like almost transform. They've gone from being really, really low and struggling to like really coming back into themselves. So yeah, who knows, mate? I just don't have any like trust in you saying earlier about this, you know, what's going on at the moment. But like, I'm not a fan of Boris Johnson, don't get me wrong, but I'll tell you one thing, if there's anyone out of the two main guys in this thing that are going to legalize, he's going to legalize it before Keir Starmer, let me tell you.
You reckon? Yeah.
Oh, mate, Starmer's like head of Crown Prosecution Service. He's super against all drugs, including cannabis, sees no value in it whatsoever, doesn't get the argument for legalization whatsoever, even when it comes to like reducing knife crime. You know, there's just a standard argument that if you take away the stop and search around cannabis, most people, like, there's a big difference between people that are heavily involved in crime and people that just smoke weed. But when you're out on the street and the police want to stop you, even if you're not involved in any crime, you just smoke weed, obviously you're still trying to keep that concealed. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole element behind, if you legalized cannabis, then I'll tell you what, there would be a whole different scenario in terms of a lot of the crime that goes on. But then I'm not even one for legalizing it. I'm one for just decriminalizing it, giving it back, allowing everybody to use it. If people want to grow it and then create an oil in their home, you know, they're trying to make out as if you can't do that because it's not safe, and this is, you can't do that, it's got to be pharmaceutical and medical based. No, it hasn't at all. But it hasn't at all. It's just a food. Yes, it is psychoactive, but that's not going to do anybody any damage whatsoever. It's just it's a fallacy. It's a con. They're just they don't want people to use it themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I can go and brew alcohol and kill myself, blow myself up.
Yeah, exactly. All of that. Exactly. That, I was just about to go into that. Like, I've easily been in, there's more than 5 times I can count where I've been in, you know, a pub or bar, somewhere where there's like about maximum of 10 people, and it's kicked off, there's fights, there's something kicked off or whatnot. I've been to a bunch of different, you know, like weed, you know, whether it be like get-togethers or whatnot, but coffee especially shops, notably 420 in Hyde Park. I've done that a few times. 20 up to 20,000 people and not one fight. Where I've even gone up to the police and gone like, I just want to get your opinion, officer. Like, you know, was there any trouble today? Was there any reason for you to stop any fights or anyone you needed to rest? No. And then what do you think it would have been like if this was like an alcohol convention? If this was
exactly.
Be
nuts. Chaos.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are the little, they're not even little signs. It's blatantly obvious that these people do not give a fuck because something so beneficial, something where, look at the difference between like, if you blaze and you drive, you're mad paranoid, you're driving extra slow, you're doing the 20 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Compared to if you drink and you drive. Drinking and drive, you're like, bruv, let me reverse down this road quick time, one way.
Exactly. It's completely different. It's completely different. You are actually impaired when you're on alcohol. You know what I mean? For most people, like for smoking weed, the impairment comes from themselves because they feel they're too high and shit. Oh man.
Yeah,
and then they start
you're looking
getting
in
paranoid.
every mirror.
And driving 20 mile an hour instead of the 40 mile an hour limit. You've gone super cautious. You're not going reckless, or you're not losing your inhibitions. It's almost like the complete opposite to that.
When you're drunk, you're like, I don't give a fuck. All you're looking at is the speed. You're not even looking at the winch. You're looking through the windshield. You're looking at the friggin' speed. Like, how fast can I? Oh, look at that.
Completely different.
Running.
Completely different society, mate. In my opinion, we should take all the pubs, all the shut down pubs. You think of all the like how the community's dead. Like, you know, at one point it was like 6,000 pubs shutting a week, which I'll be honest, in my opinion, that ain't necessarily a bad thing with how many there were across the country. It was just crazy culture. But you could take all them big pubs there are in town centres and that, turn them into like really good like cannabis dispensaries, little clubs where people can go and socialise. I guarantee you, like, you're not saying you're going to have people coming out onto the street at 11 o'clock at night. You're not going to have any trouble. People are just going to walk home. It's going to create more social bonding, more community. But then I was saying, it makes me wonder, that's not what they want. They're trying to pull that stuff apart. They're trying to dismantle it. Yeah, and it's like cannabis is in many ways, it's like the fabric, which, like, if that was our drink, as it were, if that was our go-to thing for most people to use, then man, like the facade that these people are trying to portray to the public would quickly start falling down. I genuinely do believe that. Like, it is I think it goes down to not just, it's money, obviously, like everything is to them. Like, if they can't control it and they can't, you know, it's always about trying to get a handle on it and make money out of stuff. And if they can't do it, then they're like, right, okay, we don't want anyone to sort of have anything on it. But I honestly believe it's bigger than that. It is like a spiritual war, as it were. They know full well that if this is not a toxin, you think of all the substances, cocaine, alcohol, they're poisons. They're actual poisons. They're toxic. That's the reason why your body gets rid of it so quick. The reason why you can, you know, you don't fail your drink driving test 24 hours later is because your body needs that out. It's got to get that shit out of you. The reason why you can smoke a joint and test positive 6 weeks later, because you smoke that, it gets the compounds, and your body's like, yeah, mate, I'm holding on to that. I need that. I don't want to get rid of it. It's not a toxin. I'm going to utilize that. That's why it stays in your body. Do you see what I mean? The way it's been lumped into these other substances, and it's nothing like those substances. It's not a toxin. It's a nutritional superfood. It's something that everybody should be utilizing as, like, and I say it's the best prophylactic in the world. It's the best preventative medicine. So it's all good. We've spent this whole time talking about what is good for treating, and if you get that, then it's worth trying. But realistically, what it does, the same with cancer. I never say it cures cancer, because if you could take high THC oil for a cancerous tumor, you could reduce it down to 0, and if you just stop the cannabis, it will just start coming. Your cancer markers will come back up, and it will start coming up. People that treat themselves with cannabis still need like a maintenance dose for the rest of their life, but that maintenance dose you need for the rest of your life should be taken every single day anyway. That's what I'm doing as like a preventative purpose. Instead of waiting to get cancer and then having to take high amounts of cannabis oil, let's take small amounts of cannabis oil every single day in the hope that it's going to prevent us from getting those things in the first place. That's where I'm at with it.
Yo, we're speaking to Sam Gibbons, CEO of Cannaseurs UK. Please visit his website, CannaseursUK.com. Always love the name as well, man. I'm like, yo, you must have been so glad when you saw that you could have that name, because it's perfect, man.
When that, so we were sitting there high one night and all smoking, and we had the idea that we want to create some sort of, you know, brand, as it were. We used to sit there and have, like, you know, brainstorming sessions where it just be, you know, it's like coming up with names. It's terrible sometimes. Like, you've got no idea. and there was a girl that came round, and she'd come round to see me just to get a couple of bits and pieces, and we're all sitting in there having a smoke, and she sat down for 20 minutes or whatever, and we're all there coming up with trying to brainstorm, coming up with shit names around Canex, all these different ones, and then she was the one that's come out and went Cannaseurs, and it was literally one of them light bulb moments where we were like, mate, that is sick, that is us, like that just sums us up, like that is what we're about. And then looked online, and there was actually, that's why it's Cannaseurs UK, there was actually a company called Cannaseurs in Colorado, like a dispensary, and I'm not sure they're even going anymore, to be fair, but yeah, all help.
All right, we'll get into let's get into some of your products, but we just got to briefly do a quick what do we call it?
Ad break, yeah. We'll just go, for CMOS Boss, which is sponsoring the shit you might not never know nothing about live stream. So,
if your kids are involved, you can say something.
We're definitely in the adult hour now, though. I think. Exactly. CMOS, the CMOS Boss is a good place to get it's the best place, really. We only mix with the best people, don't we? It's the best place for organic, wild crafted sea veg, like what they got in there, dulse.
You got your sea spaghetti.
These are all good sources of vitamin B12 and omega-3 fatty acids and iodine and vitamin E, calcium, magnesium, and they've got their own sea spice. Have you tried the sea spice, the salt alternative thing?
Yeah. The sea spice is banging, man. It's like a really good alternative to having, because it's not just this salty. You've also got like the different flavors of the veg as well. And because it's all mixed up, it is a sea spice, and you notice the difference. You just, once you start using the sea spice, you'll be like, I don't know if I need any salt on this, man, because it just feels like you're getting a bit more out of it. There's already salt in there, innit, because it's come from salty water. But then the fact that some of it is the sea spaghetti, some can be so, and also the CMOS as well, but it's small enough that it's edible and it goes down really well. And then obviously some of the other benefits are like vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin D, B9, B2, potassium, selenium. You mentioned magnesium, which is really important for a lot of people, man. Apparently majority of us are really deficient in magnesium. Because it's not in the ground as much as it should be, and so the plants that are growing are not really absorbing them. And I had a hard time getting my head around it, because I thought but would the plants not grow properly then if there weren't enough magnesium? But apparently they can still grow the same way we can without enough magnesium, and we don't realize. There are other health benefits of CMOS. Things like treating anemia, helping to boost energy, treating thyroid disorder, can help relieve the flu in terms of the fact that it's sort of a mucus. It can help relieve the phlegm and congestion that you get. So it helps like loosen up the mucus and whatnot. And then obviously you get rid of that. That's the idea. The whole point where your lungs get filled up with mucus is for you to cough it up and spit it out. So don't be... A lot of people just swallow it, and it's like, no wonder you're still sick. No wonder. Yeah, but we've never been taught this stuff, so it makes sense, as to why we deal with things in this way. And so, that's to do with the potassium chloride. That's what helps you get rid of, like the sort of mucus and all that. Obviously, then that means it can help with relieving asthma. So these are sort of things that we're not told about, man. Similar to what Sam was saying earlier, there's a whole bunch of stuff that once you start reading in between the lines, you realize so this is what they don't want you to know. And actually, life is way more simple than they're trying to make out to us. You know what I mean? CMOS can also help improve your mental health. It's good for detoxification. A really good thing, what I've noticed, because I like to fast, I do the intermittent fasting. So I won't eat until like at least, 4, 5 o'clock, sometimes go on till 8. But what I've noticed is if I have like a CMOS tea or whatever, man, I can just go on for a lot longer. And obviously because I'm getting they're meant to be what, over 98 different minerals, vitamins and minerals in the sea moss. So I guess because you're getting all of that, your body just feels like, yeah, we're good, bruv. Don't worry about the stomach being empty. You just, you know what I mean? You got the nutrients you needed. And so carry on. Wound healing as well. I did, I'll tell you what I did, you know, because the only way we can really know for sure, as I always say, is like when we test things out ourselves. And that's why they've said to us like, oh, but that's anecdotal. Oh, but that's anecdotal. In other words, that's something you've tried yourself and you know, you've proven yourself, but because you're not a scientist, you don't know what you're talking about. I like accidentally, well, I don't even know if it's an accident. I probably did it on purpose just so I could test it out. But no, accidentally grating cheese, yeah. And then I noticed like some of my skin came off. So I got some iodine. You know, like the raw iodine. I've forgotten what it was. There's a little, there's a label to it. I forgot. Yeah, that's it. That's Lugol's. I can't even say it properly, but bam. So I was like, all right, let me just put a little dab on the cut and see, because it was quite, you know, it wasn't like bad or nothing, but it was enough where I was like, all right, let me test this out. Did you find a bit of skin in the cheese? Bam, I put it on. I think, I probably did, you know. That might have added, that gave it that umami. That gave it a bit of umami. It's funny you said that, because I was like, damn, this cheese better than normal. What is this? And then, so I put some of the iodine on it. Bam. I was like that. And it dropped on. And it's like, yo, you know, like it really burnt. Like where you start smiling, like, oh, right, you want me to start crying and shit. You know what I mean? It really burnt. And then, bam, I got cotton wool and just absorbed the rest of it. And I was like, oh, bam. But, bruv, the way that this healed up, like, and I'm a guy that heals up pretty quick anyway, but this was next level. Yeah, like I'm not even just saying that, you know, I ain't got no reason to just be saying that. So for sure, iodine really helps improve your treatment of wounds and whatnot.
Most people are low in iodine anyway. Most people are, yeah. So anyway, you can tell by getting the iodine and putting a drop of it anywhere on your skin, and if it soaks in, then that means that you needed iodine. So if it doesn't soak in, it will stay on the surface of the skin. But most people are low in iodine. So that's stuff like this. You know, sea spaghetti and you know, these sorts of like nutrient dense sea vegetables are good for getting that sort of stuff in you. Yeah, it's really high in iodine. Yeah. So. Yeah. Even to that bladder-wrack, I think is the highest in it, and even to the point where he's saying like you don't take bladder-wrack every day because there is such thing as being, you know, you have too much iodine, and so I'd advise that, especially for you know, the women who have thyroid problems, like the bladder-wrack. There's a couple people that I've given, you know, let them try it or whatnot, and they've had it for a few weeks, and they've said, yeah, definitely seen some benefits of it. And also, like, he's not too crazy with the prices, man. You can literally get organic bag, decent sized bag of bladder-wrack for £10. Same with the sea moss for £10. Make your own gel and whatnot with it. Add whatever you want to it, and it's a game changer. You can also go to you can get 10% off. They're giving us a code, which is about 10 ABOUT 10, number 10, and that will give you 10% off. So it is cheap, but you get another 10% off
any purchases
with our special code. So, yeah.
See it there.
Nice. I was going to say about doing similar, actually. Right. I'll say that in a minute.
We'll talk man. Yeah. We'll definitely.
That sounds good.
So we get out and show
Mice, can I ask, is that the same? Is that our mate that we were talking about the other day? Or is that someone different? It is.
CMOS boss. Yeah. Basically, through snuff. It is. It's the CMOS. Yeah, man. Yeah, because it's funny. Snuff came on, and broke down a whole bunch about the benefits of sea moss and sea vegetables and whatnot. Yeah. And then I'm in a group with him, like the People's Army promo group and whatnot. And then Snuff was dropping his little gems here, there, and then the guy like messaged and said, "Oh, by the way, if anyone wants sea moss, I've got the proper thing, Irish moss, rare, rare." And then I hit him up and said, "Yo, I'm interested," because obviously the seeds that Snuff had planted in my head. Yeah, the thing is, I've always known about sea moss because growing up is like your friends' parents always sea moss this, sea moss that, or if you go into Caribbean food shop, you'd have like the sea moss with carrot juice, and you'd have Guinness punch and whatnot. So you'd always but never really knew what the benefits were. And so when he's breaking all these things down, I'm like, oh right, no wonder everyone's going crazy. And obviously the Dr. Sabi thing, yeah, same thing, innit? That's what happens with AKA Gandalf boy, hip hop Gandalf Snuff. And then so once Richie he'd sent that message, and I was like, yo, I'm interested, bruv. And then he sent his website and whatnot. And then I went there and I was like, oh. And then I hit up Snuff because I remember him saying, oh, there's hardly anyone out there really doing the proper stuff. So I thought, oh, maybe he might not approve. And then he was like, no, 100%, man. CMOS boss. If there's anyone I'm going to get, it's from him. Yeah. And so I was like, obviously, I was like, yo, let me go and test it out myself and make sure, and this, that, and the third, and then went through it. And I knew because we already had some CMOS from Indigo Farms, which are, they're pretty legit. Like Indigo Farms are kind of not necessarily commercial, but they're a known brand for getting organic supplements and whatnot. This CMOS didn't say it was organic and whatnot, but I thought, all right, let's try this out so I can at least learn how to make the gel thing. And so tried that, had that, and I was like, oh, right, I can see the benefits of it. But then the CMOS boss, the level of what they have is just like, oh, okay, this is how it's meant to be.
It's organic,
this is how it's meant to taste.
And it's high quality organic moss from Ireland. So they actually get theirs from the west coast of Ireland rather than just dragging out of any old sea.
Yeah, it's like the northwest coast. Yeah, there's like the stories I've heard now. I've heard about like because of the hype around CMOS, and the main hype came from the sort of Dr. Sabi. So around like I guess 2008, 9-ish or whatever, YouTube videos of Dr. Sabi were popping up left, right, and center. And this is the guy that kind of proved that he'd cured a lot of ailments with not just like regular people, but also famous people, and then took it to court and had about 60 plus different people swear that he's cured them of whether it be cancer, heart problems, diabetes,
AIDS. I think AIDS is one as well,
AIDS and all that sort of stuff. And it's because he had a different view on what these illnesses are, what causing these illnesses, which makes way more sense when you think about it, because it's so much more simple than the mainstream want us to believe. Do you know what I mean? And so it made sense. And then watching all of that, and then I followed his diet, and it changed me, man. Like everything, I was like, yo, my skin's growing better. People are like, bruv, you've lost weight, but it's in a good way. Like you look younger. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not like when people lose weight, like, bruv, you're losing weight, man. You're right.
You
know what I mean? When you get them, that people like, right, you've lost weight, but you look good, bruv. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, calm down, bruv. Like, you ain't gonna be looking at me in the eyes like But yeah, so after seeing all of that, and then one thing that he swore by was sea moss. He was just like, yo, but he said Irish moss. He was like, nah, not just regular sea moss. He's like Irish moss. And there's a difference between sea moss and Irish moss, because obviously, where it's from. You got a lot of sea moss out in the Caribbean islands and whatnot, but because it's like you've got more sun, and I guess Sam, you could probably chime in on this, because it's similar with the hemp product, isn't it? With cannabis plants, is that too much heat or too much light, too much sun can kind of will actually mess with its benefits, right?
Yeah. Caribbean.
And so that's
plus 30 degrees heat is going to be too much for most
and
plants.
So there's this whole thing about it. Yeah, there's a whole thing about it being too blonde, like not enough color in it. Like if you get CMOS, it should be darker.
That's interesting.
Can get it lighter, but
here you go. Here's one. So I know that it's probably to do. Like I know even with like the green in if you make cannabis oil, I know that people have an old tried tested method was to leave your oil out in the sun. And this was out in like a country like Spain, like a hot country, and you leave it out in the sun and it will turn it from like a dark color into like a more of a light color, because the sun actually will remove a lot of the chlorophyll and stuff that's actually in there. So a lot of that coloring can be removed. So it's probably along the similar lines. Can actually
definitely
remove important compounds.
Yeah, exactly that. And then also the fact that, you know, one of the funniest things I heard is that because of the hype around CMOS, and especially over the last sort of 5 to 6 years or whatnot, after, you know, after Sabi blowing up and whatnot, and then within the last sort of 5 to 6 years since now, you've had like this whole thing of like, I've got CMOS, I can sell CMOS. Yeah, if you want CMOS, come see me. And then these people have got like, because obviously it washes up on the shores, but even onto the street and that. So they got people just running around picking up any old CMOS from the street, wash it up, and then selling that like it's some banging Irish moss.
Such a demand for it, you're gonna get that, aren't you?
Yeah. So you got that. So yeah, man, make sure you hit them up, cmosboss.co.uk, and use the about 10 to get your discount code. You know what I mean? And enjoy, man. Definitely enjoy. I want to get back into this because you got some amazing products on the website as well, Sam.
Yes, mate.
I've tried quite a few of them, haven't I?
Yeah. Maybe not. So we got new chocolate flavors and new chocolate bars probably since I probably last saw you, actually. Yeah, definitely.
I remember you had the stirrers, man.
They're banging.
Man, the chocolate stirrers are just, because you're drinking it feeling like, oh, this is nice hot chocolate, and then for some reason you just feel mellow. You just feel like relaxed on some next level. So obviously you're getting the iron and magnesium from the dark chocolate, but then also the benefits from the CBD. Yeah. So you got things like premium CBD Belgian chocolate bars, indica bars. You've also got sativa bars. So does that mean then? Yeah, tell me about this as well. Is it true then that, because we're led to believe that indica means, you know, you're gonna be like man's just sleeping. And then sativa means like you're going to be all hype. Yo, brother, you know what, man? I've just been on some sativa. But apparently it isn't as simple as that, is it?
It's not at all. So the only thing, it's quite interesting. So the only thing that's about an indica and a sativa, the only distinguishing things between an indica and sativa is that how they grow. An indica is a small, stocky plant, and a sativa is a tall, long, sort of lanky plant. In terms of the actual effects, yes, there is like a general theme where sativas may feel you more alert, more creative, more energetic, more of a head high, and the indica's more of a relaxing body stone and all of that. But that's nothing to do with the word indica or sativa. That's to do with the terpenes that are found in each strain. So the terpenes are in essence the flavor and the smell, which like you might get limonene, like I said earlier, it's found in lemons. And you might get citral, which is found in oranges. You got pinene, which is the smell of pine. You get in pine needles. You got like, there's beta caroline. There's about, in some of the newer strains, you've got like up to 30 terpenes per strain. And it's that combination of terpenes which provides the therapeutic effect and the way that you feel. It just so happens that most sativas and most indicas will carry a similar combination of terpenes. Does that make sense? And that's why most sativas will make you feel a similar way, just because they contain similar combinations of terpenes. But then you will find there will be certain sativas which contain completely different terpenes, and that sativa will make you feel like an indica. And that indica that you smoke will make you feel like a sativa. So it used to be like this really like set thing, like indica does this, sativa does that. The indica and sativa distinctions are just purely how the plants grow. The complex part behind why the plant makes you feel a certain way is all to do with the combination of terpenes in that particular strain. That's what we're understanding now, that the terpenes themselves are what gives the therapeutic effect. So every strain will have a different, yeah, and it's the terpenes. They're magical compounds, mate. They're
Can you break down what the terpenes are for people who might not never know nothing about it?
Okay, so you could take a terpene, is you find it in any flower, any plant, fruit. It's the smell, it's the essential oil. So I could get lemon, I could grate a lemon, yeah, and get all the lemon shavings, yeah. I could distill that in and steam distill it, and pull off all the limonene, which is the smell, it's the essential oil. The same way, you get lavender oil. People might buy lavender oil, lemon oil, what's the grass? All these different oils. Yeah, lemongrass. They're just terpenes extracted from different plants. That's all that is. It's just the smell. It's the essence. It's the essence of that particular plant. Like I say, cannabis. The reason why it smells so much, and you know what I mean. You might go somewhere with a stinking bag of weed, and it's so distinguishable, is that it's got say 30 different smells in there. So it might have the lemon smell of a lemon, but orange. It might have the pine smell. It's got the lavender smell. It's got so many different smells. When you put them all together, it creates a really pungent smelling. But it makes it even more therapeutic because it's got so many of those different essential oils in the plant itself. It's quite fascinating. Terpenes are something that the word terpenes is something that's going to become a lot more common knowledge in the next few years. That's going to be like the next breakthrough in cannabis, is going to be the essential oils in cannabis, the smells, where those smells come from. They're all particular compounds found in the plant. They are very, very therapeutic and medicinal in themselves. So, but again, go on.
That makes sense. Go on. Sorry.
There are people constantly always trying to extract. So there's people, like the pharmaceutical industry are just trying to extract just CBD, just THC. And then it'll be the same with terpenes, where they'll be saying, oh, right, this terpene now we're finding, like even say pine, pine, the pinene smell, it actually opens up the airways. One of the therapeutic effects of that is it actually opens up your breathing airways. And that's why, again, that's in a lot of cannabis strains, and when people may either smoke it, vape it, take the oil, they find relief in terms of getting better breathing and all those things. It's because of that pinene that's in there. The same stuff that when you walk through a pine forest is therapeutic, and it actually helps you open up your airways in exactly the same way. It's just that, like I say, the cannabis contains.
Say that again. It's therapeutic and.
Yeah, so if you walk through a pine forest, there's actual trials and studies done to show that pine smell that you smell, which is pinene, there's actual therapeutic properties to that, which it actually opens and enables people to breathe better. So again, like I say, that one compound which does that in a pine forest is found in a cannabis strain, but it might be present with 30 other different terpenes as well. And that's why it's so complex, and why the cannabis plant does so many different things. Yeah.
So one thing that's confused me as well is so because the terpenes are something that you smell, right? But obviously your smell and taste are connected, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like if you block your nose and you can't taste anything. So does that mean that what was the question I wanted to ask? So does that mean that the flavor is also
that comes from the terpenes.
Okay, so that's affected. Right.
All from the terps. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Because we've never really, not many people look at it in that sort of light. They don't think about it as in the terp, but there are people who say, like, for me personally, I'm not like heavy into the orange terp, so when it's like, I've got some when everyone's like, oh, I've got some orange mango, blah blah blah, or I've got some marmalade,
orange diesel,
okay, that's it, the psycho citrus,
mimosa,
mimosa, that's it, that's the one I was thinking. And I'm not crazy about it. I'm like, this is cool, but then something more piney, like you're saying, or something more nutty, or those sort of things get me a bit more excited. So that's what I wanted to ask, is like, would it mean then that because we're all a bit different anyway in terms of what we, people like, I prefer eating salmon than I do whatever, so would that be similar in the sense of like what you might blaze, and then makes you feel a certain way, for me will make me feel a different way. So that means
Exactly. That's why it's all down to each one's different palate. Everybody's got a different palate when it comes to this. You know, I love an OG. I smoke OGs all day long, and I love that flavor. So like even like Skywalker or something like that is like for me a day-to-day smoke. It always hits the spot. It's always got that flavor. And yeah, I can give that to other people, and they're like, "No, I really don't like that Skywalker." And whilst I'm like, sometimes I'm like, "What? How? Like, what are you smoking?" And then I know the people that are similar to me and like certain indicas and that, they get the Skywalker and they're like, "Oh, it's so Moorish, man. I can't stop smoking it." And it's just like, for the people that really don't like it, I've come to the conclusion, like when I was probably younger and more naive, and you know, all the ego, you're like, they ain't got a clue. They, you know what I mean? They don't know about flavors, but they do. They know about their flavors and what's right for them, and what they like is just different to me. You know, so I've never been a sativa guy. So whatever it is, the terps that are in, mainly those terps in sativas, I tend to. It's not a general. You know, you can't generalize anything, like I said earlier, 'cause it's too complicated for that. But like most sativas that come along, there's like a similar vibe to it, and it's not for me. Those terps, whatever terps are in there, just not for me. I need a sort of a strong, heavy hitting indica.
Yeah, more depth.
A bit more body to it. It has to have a bit more body to it. Yeah,
you're right. And another thing I find as well is that with buds and even tubs, we've spoken about this, is that like what you find is the buds that have more flavor to them, like there's a higher percentage of terps in them. There's less of a high. You know, it's more of a head high than it is a body high, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the other way around, where you've got things that, you know, the OGs, which are a bit more depth in flavor, not necessarily like high notes or whatever. They're more like deeper notes. They sort of get you more stoned in it than
that will, and that's not the THC, because the THC compound is the same in every strain. The THC doesn't change. Do you see what I'm saying? It's the same compound, but the terps change in every strain. And so the reason why you are like that is just because you don't know which terps they are, but there's certain terps in those particular ones that's what agrees with you. So like I say, it's just the essential oil. The simplest way I can explain it is that you might have a guy that it takes lavender and he distills it and he sells lavender products, and he has a little shop selling lavender oil. That's just one thing.
The distilled, you know? Essential oils, because it comes from an essence. It is, and that's the same thing with cannabis. It's just packed with essential oils, but there's just loads of different ones. Hence why it smells so much.
Right. Okay, so let's get back into some of these products. We've got here on CannaseursUK.com. You lot should definitely check out the website. So we got 100 ml natural CBD balm. And that's a sativa balm. So this is something you'd use for joints and rashes and things like that?
Yeah, that's topical. So used on the skin, and that's got not just the CBD whole plant extract, which obviously I'm passionate about. It's got coconut oil, shea butter, hemp seed oil, aloe butter. It's actually got some lavender oil in it, and it's got some vitamin E. And some beeswax as well in there. So like it's really is like, if you look at all of those product, like those particular products in there, they're like all to do with soothing. And so like I've had for people that have got like psoriasis is a really good one. Psoriasis. I had a guy who is a landlord at like my dad's local, and he had like his psoriasis on his belly had got to the point where it was just like crusty white. It'd gone past being red, and he just had this crust all over his belly. And within 2 weeks of using the CBD, taking the oil and using the balm, it just, all of the white crust had gone completely. Like, and that's within 2 weeks. So it just gone. And the same, I've seen it with like sort of young girls that have got eczema and stuff like that, like really pretty severe eczema. And a couple of weeks using that every day, and it can really, really sort of take off doesn't get rid of it completely, but it takes it down to a level where that person can actually tolerate it, and it's not constantly itching and scratching and really bothering them.
Yeah, because it's usually a diet thing, isn't it? Like the sort of underlying
normally.
issue is that there's something wrong with the diet. Either there's too much or too less or something.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the air and stuff as well, even in all the cleaning products and stuff like that in there. You know, like a lot of the washing powders and stuff like that. So they're on the clothes,
the ink,
the
ink in your clothes as well.
Yeah,
like even today, man. Like we were, you know, the last day of rehearsal today, and I was wearing these jeans. And I for some reason, I put tissue in my back pocket, and then I took the tissue out, and then it was like I could see blue ink on the tissue. And I was like, yo, and I was thinking, shit, I must be absorbing that in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your skin's constantly absorbing everything, isn't it? So
crazy, man. It's crazy, bruv. Like we really got to be more aware of what the hell we're doing to ourselves. Even though it feels good, man. These jeans feel good. Look at my butt in these jeans, though.
That's all the phytoestrogens getting into your skin, making you feel like your jeans look good on your ass. Oh, these jeans look good on my ass.
It's my butt big. God damn, girl. I mean, bro. All right. So, and then next up, so we got indica CBD oil spray. Is this another topical thing, or this would be?
No. So that's the standard oil that you'd basically put under your tongue and take that as an oil every day. They're the ones that we.
Say that again.
So you take that under your tongue every single day. And that's the best way of taking CBD, really. If you can take it as an oil, best way. The reason we do all the chocolate is because, like, whole plant extract, where it contains, it's not just CBD isolate and nothing else. It's got all the terps, all the fats, all the wax, all the lipids. And for a lot of people, it doesn't taste very nice. Yeah, it
doesn't taste very nice.
No, it doesn't taste very nice. So it's got a lot in there, and it's quite a bitter, hempy, planty sort of taste. So for most people, like, the oil, even though it tastes like that, they just stick it in their mouth and just get on with it. But for some people that are like, some people just really don't like certain tastes and flavors and are not used to it. They really don't like it. We've had people really try it, particularly actually more elderly people and young people. So more children and the elderly, when they try it, it's like, oh no, I really don't like that. Whereas when we then infuse it into the chocolate, it's actually a really good way of still processes and goes into the body nice and effectively, but it obviously tastes good. So it just made it a bit better of an option. But as a standard product that we do, we've become known as like the chocolate guys in the CBD industry, because there's not that many people making good chocolate. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. But still, the oil is still the main thing that we sort of stand by. And if I'm going to recommend anybody a product, it's going to be like, look, try the oil. If you try the oil and you really don't like it and you can't get on with it, then let's give you some chocolate and go down that route. You know, so it's sort of like a second option to people. So I was going to say, if you want to do that, I was going to say on your the breakdown SYMNNKNA, maybe if I put in like a little code as well, do a similar sort of thing, like a 10% discount for everybody that's sort of watching the podcast. I can do that afterwards. So if they want to try any products, I can
appreciate that.
Yeah, let us know what it is, and we'll put it on the.
Yeah, well, literally, it's going to be. I'll put it as the hashtag of your show.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. Oh yeah. It is a weird one, but yeah, that's good because it keeps.
It is a weird one, but it will know then everybody that's listening to this, that's their code to use. So it's
there you go, mother lovers. So you got to put in SYMNNKNA. Something. All you got to say to yourself is something you might never know nothing about. And what messes people up, the part where you'll be messed up is the no. You'll feel like you got to put an end there. And this is what we do: try and keep you bitches and bitchettes on point. Something you might not never know nothing about. That's SYMNNKNA. Yeah, I read it.
So I'll do that now. I'll do that as soon as.
Salute, Sam, man.
So.
Really appreciate that, brother, man. Let's run through some more of the products as well before we go. So we got, that's the indica version of the oil spray, and then you've also got a sativa version.
Can I just ask a question? Sorry. So that the oil, how long will that last? That's like a couple of months or something, or what's the?
Yeah, that is. So the 30 ml bottles we do last on average about 2 months. They're like what? The thing is,
say that again because you went quiet.
Sorry, I've tried to keep it so that for what we offer, like in those 30ml bottles, you get 6,000 milligrams of whole plant extract, which if you look on the market, like not only is our whole plant extract generally works, I only set up the business because I found the extract and people started taking it, and it was just like, whoa, what is going on? Everybody's coming back saying it's doing this, doing that. So it works, but we're also sticking in, like, there's companies out there you'll see, like pyramid selling schemes. There's so many of them out there. They'll be putting in like 1,000 milligrams of like CBD isolate and nothing else, and selling it for like 100, 150 quid. Like in ours, you got 6,000 milligrams, so 6 full grams of whole plant extract in one bottle, and it's like what, between 60 and 70 quid for 2 months usage. So like that was my whole thing, was this whole the business, as it were, and the company, probably naive in my sort of aspect, in the fact that I didn't set this up as a business. It was more, this became a business, and I was always really keen to make sure it was affordable for everybody, and we weren't taking a piss when it comes to profit. And I've had people like in the vape industry, even when I set the company up, saying, what's your profit margins and that? And I'm saying, we do anywhere from, depending what product, it ranges from about 50% to about 100% markup. He's going, what? Like, you need to be a minimum 600-700% on your profit, mate. And I'm like saying, no, I can't do that to people. Like that just makes it ridiculous. But then I look at other CBD companies, and they are actually charging that sort of money. So
they're either putting less in, or they're charging more. That's the way they're getting around it. Okay,
exactly. They're putting in cheap, shitty products, and then just charging loads of money for it.
Respect for sticking to some kind of standards, morals. I mean, that's
moral.
What it is the moral thing. It is how there's so many now, because this is such a booming industry, and there's so many people involved in it now that know nothing about cannabis. They're not doing it because they're passionate about cannabis. They've seen like a good business opportunity. It means that all the people that did this originally for the actual passion, it's like, we do have a moral obligation to not just join the crowd and just go off into this like extortionate world where we're just taking the piss. Same way when if they get rid of THC, and we get told that you can't have THC in your product at all anymore, 0 tolerance, and you've got to now take this compound out. There's even CBN is like a sedative, so they're now saying that's a controlled substance as well. So if we have to take these compounds out of our oil, I'm not doing that. If it meant I have to shut the business, like from a moral point of view, I couldn't change our product and give our customers like a substandard product that I know is not going to work, or not work certainly as effectively as the stuff they've been taking. Like, so we've all got like a bit of a moral obligation to stand up for what's right, but at the same time, we could all probably just get stamped out of the way in no time at all, because it seems to be coming.
We spoke on it, and I think there'll be a way around it for you, especially because you've already got people that have been coming to you from day one, and all you got to do is just take it into the private, just put a paywall behind it, and then they can't really tell you nothing, because it's the same, like Dan gets his raw milk from a farm, and it's more or less, it's like not so blatant that's what they're doing, but once he explained how he manages to get it, it's like, oh yeah, that's it, it's just done in the private. So
exactly. We'll always continue. I say that to anyone. Like, people go, "Oh, what are you going to do?" Like, if Cannaseurs is the brand or the company, I'll still be doing what I'm doing no matter what. Like, that can't be stopped. That's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean? That's just there's no movement on that. Like, I don't really care what the consequence is. Like, at the moment, as it stands now, like, even just on people that have got cancer, I've got that many people that rely on the oil that we make that can't stop. No matter what.
Yeah. See it there. Amazing, man. So, all right. So, what I wanted to get an idea of what would be the difference in taking the indica CBD oil spray and then the sativa oil spray, because you got the sativa one there as well. Yeah.
So it is actually, as much as I said earlier, you can't generalize too much, but from the feedback from people over the last few years, definitely, I like the reason we only call it indica and sativa is actually just because the indica is like a Medigom strain grown indoors in Holland, and it's like it's just an indica type of strain. Like, well, it's actually a hybrid, but more indica dominant. And then the sativa is like a Finola hemp grown outside in Spain. So it was just two ways of distinguishing. But saying that, the indica is definitely, people tend to use that more for sleep, for pain, for more like physical. Wanting to get a physical benefit, as it were. And the sativa is definitely more the sort of anxiety ADHD, that type of stuff, which is funny, isn't it? Because people say that, people that have those issues, this goes to show about the counteractive nature of CBD. So if you grew a sativa strain that was equal amounts of THC and CBD, you may well find that sometimes like that skittish effect that when you smoke a high THC sativa, and people that might be like anxious or nervous or have ADHD, it's not actually that good for them because it sort of enhances it even more, makes them worse. It's like the sativa CBD. It's like, for what we're seeing is our sativa CBD is providing like the counteractive element to that heightened sort of nervousness or anxiety you might get with the THC in sativa strains. So the CBD is like the counteractive balance to that. So that tends to be how it is. But again, you can't have that as a rule. I always say to people, you got to just try it and stick with it for a good month, try some different products and sort of find out what works for you. It's about you having control over, it's very difficult to just say one shoe fits, this guy took it for this and you take that and you take that dose. It's not quite going to work like that. It can do, but it don't always work like that.
Yeah, I guess like I probably wanted to help out people to, because there's some people who might look and be like, oh, I don't know which one to get. Like, should I get the indica or should I get the sativa one? So I guess like you're saying, if it's more of a psychoactive relief you want, then you'd go for the sativa, and then if it's more of a physical,
if you need pain relief or helping to get you to sleep at night or something like that, it's normally, I would say, the indica.
Okay. And then how I remember is in the car is like you're leaning in the car,
chilling in the car.
You're leaning, and then once you remember that, then you know
you know what one to go for.
All right, so then I really like this, man. You've got CBD coconut oil paste, which is full spectrum.
Yep. So that's the product we do. That's like you can eat that and take it orally, but you can also use it on the skin as a balm. So it's like a mix of the two. And like the balm that I said to you earlier, the topical balm we do, so that contains 1,000 milligrams of CBD, and it's not like it's all the other compounds in there as well, but it just gives more of a soothing effect. If you've got like a serious skin condition, a lot of the time I would put them in the way of the cocoa paste, because it's more concentrated, and it's just coconut oil. It's just coconut oil, and then you've got 3 grams, so 3 times the amount of CBD in that one. And again, like my niece, she was at the point with her acne where she wouldn't go to school and that because it was that bad. And that cocoa paste, she still takes it now. It's literally cleared up her acne to the point where she just couldn't believe it. Like, from that side of my family, still I've got family members that see what I'm doing, but it's until you actually start using it, you don't quite get it. People just don't quite get it still until they see for themselves. So and that's it, man. That's like I was saying, until you try it yourself, you never really know, because everyone's built in a different way. And so someone might be like, yo, this is amazing, and you'll be like, yeah, okay, try it, and you're like, right, this doesn't really work, but trial and error, and then once you find something that does, you're like, okay, this is what works for me. And like, for sure, like I've said, I've tried the oils, the oil sprays, the balm and the chocolate, and it's like guaranteed benefits from it.
It's
one, mate.
There's
it's
no,
the one.
you know
works.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, right, it's really, like, I feel different, man. Like, you know what I mean? And then the difference from when you don't have it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing with the CBD, because CBD is not psychoactive. So it's funny as well, because people sometimes take it and expect to, they go, I didn't feel like, and I'm saying, well, you don't take like Nurofen to get rid of your pain and expect to feel a certain way. Your pain just goes. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of the time it is like that. Yeah, but it is like that where I'm not advocating taking Nurofen. I'm just using it as an example. But it's like I can't remember what I was going to say now. That's the oil kicking in. That is, mate. That's the only danger about the oil. I will say that.
Right,
I will say that the short-term memory is not good.
Just go and have a couple of biscuits.
The short-term memory,
couple of biscuits and go to bed.
That, when you said earlier about side effects, that's the side effect. That really is the only side effect that is a bit of a negative to me is my short-term memory. So if you take it every day, then there's definitely times when I'm forgetting why I've walked in the room and forgetting what I'm talking about. And but for me, I'm quite I've got a lot going on in my mind, and I'm quite, like you said earlier, about sometimes it can make people a little bit unmotivated. Well, I'm so motivated and sort of so on it that it just takes the edge off me, and it still allows me to be motivated. Like I smoke every day, and I'm still like living a full life. Do you know what I mean? Running businesses and got my kids and doing sport and, you know, all the things that like people like to do. It's not stopping me doing that. It's just helping
me. You got your own business, man. You're a functional stoner. You're like officially
100%.
Yeah, there's people out there like myself. It's like functional stoner. Shout out to Reveal. We came up with that
big
term.
Up all those people.
We realized, we were like, hold on a minute. Like we blaze like crazy, but how come we're not like, I can't be bothered to do this?
No,
like,
still out getting stuff done. That's an
man.
excuse to me. Like, if you want to use it as an excuse, because you weren't going to do nothing anyway, it's very easy to say, yeah, I didn't do nothing because I smoked weed, man. It does this to me. Or if you're on it and you got stuff to do with your life, like being high or not is not going to stop me getting on with the stuff I need to be getting on with.
Just might make it slightly funnier. Yeah,
exactly. It just enhances my life. It does enhance my life. If I'm busy and I'm working, it makes it just that little bit better. If I'm sat around doing nothing, it makes that a bit better. It's an enhancer to me. And it just,
These not lying there, man, because I do get like with my family, like some people, they're like, oh, you're not serious, you're always laughing and that, and I don't want to be like, yeah, it's because I'm high.
I'm high.
Probably.
What are you gonna do?
That's like, it is. Well, Mike's always so happy. He's like, he's probably high. I'm like, you just can't see it.
I'll tell you what, it's good for a marriage, mate. Me and the missus take oil, we take oil, and I tell you what, it's good for a marriage, mate.
We get on so well.
Yeah, we get on great. It's because we're just high all the time. You take that away, and we're fucking hate each other.
That is hilarious, man. So so you got the coconut oil paste. We've also got 30 milligrams of the CBD oil spray, but this time full spectrum. So just break down again once more what it means by full spectrum.
That full spectrum is actually just a mixture. What we did was that because we were sourcing the indica and the sativa oils, and at first I was selling it as sativa, and then I was selling it as indica, and then after a while I'm thinking, hang on a minute, like in terms of like a cannabinoid profile, and what would happen if I mixed the indica with the sativa and have all of that together in like one mix? So that is the reason where the full spectrum came from. Was it was just in the fact that it's got the most amount of cannabinoids you can have, because we got 3,000 milligrams of the sativa, 3,000 milligrams of the indica. Chuck that in, and for like as a people that are just taking that as like a day-to-day health supplement. Say you haven't actually got any ailments, you just want to get loads of cannabinoids inside of you. That's the oil, and that is, as much as I did that thinking, I wonder what that will do. I'll tell you something. In terms of feedback, I would definitely say that the full spectrum oil is the one that we get the best feedback from, and also it's the one that sells the most, interestingly. So, and that's the one, like the oil that's packed full of the most amount of cannabinoids. It's a mix.
That's why I wanted people to hear that, is because I noticed that as well. It's like there's quite a difference between when you just get one that's sativa and then when you get one that's full spectrum. And even with the balms and creams as well, you're just like, oh right, there's like stuff just heals quicker.
So much more to it.
What I mean? Where you're just
like, more to it.
Okay. Definitely, man. All right, so we've also got the 30 milligram indica dominant as well as sativa dominant sprays.
So 3 different sprays. Yeah.
So there's basically 3 different sprays. You got the full spectrum, you got the indica dominant, and then you got the sativa dominant. If you can't remember which one helps, just rewind the video. Bitches are bitches. You got also premium CBD Belgian chocolate bars.
Yeah.
And one obviously sativa and indica as well with that. So I think, is this more the flavor? Then you're gonna get that sort of like the Belgian chocolate that they take, but they get.
It is.
I heard that they call it Belgian chocolate, but actually the cacao still comes from like.
Yeah,
Ghana,
of course it does. Yeah, of course it does. I
saw that, like, what? The Swiss and all that, like, hey, so our chocolate
claiming chocolate.
It's just stirred. They just stir the milk in Switzerland or Belgium. That's it. Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
It's probably more to do with the cows. It's probably more to do with Swiss cows and Belgian cows.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's our cows though.
But we have we have a chocolatier, mate. I realised when I first started that we've got the really good like cannabis product, And then when we launched and then we was going to create a chocolate product, I just thought, it's easy. How hard can it be? I'll just make the chocolate myself. And it was like, oh, man, I soon realized that shit is an art and a science. I found like my missus actually found right before we launched, we thought we weren't going to have any chocolate products. And then she found like a chocolatier, like an award-winning chocolatier over in Hive in Kent. He's like doing it 30 years. Got him on board. He did think it was like proper, like illegal or whatever at the first. I had to really explain it to him about how it was legal and we can put this cannabis product into chocolate. And then, he got on board. So like, that's the thing about the chocolate. It is actually like, you take the CBD out of it, it's top chocolate. I'm not just saying that. Like, it is actually like really, really high quality chocolate. You can notice that.
Belgium, yeah.
So again, I always have that process of like, if you're not an expert at something, don't do it yourself and just outsource it to somebody who is an expert. It's as simple as that. So that's sort of how we've gone with the chocolate. We provide him with the CBD. He takes it off to his chocolate shop and he produces all the products there.
Amazing, man.
Yeah, mate.
That's beautiful, man. And I'm sure people couldn't see it or hear it anyway, but you notice that Sam really is passionate about this, as well as the fact that he makes sure that the product does what it says on the tin before he's even letting it get out there. So like I said, this guy, I was introduced to him as like a sort of like local witch doctor type thing, looking after people using different, the oils and using the oils and whatnot to help people recover from various different ailments. And so once him moving into something like this, I knew just hearing that was like, yeah, okay, this is going to be something special. And years later, it's definitely become that. This is one of the hot products, CBD Belgian hot chocolate stirrers, right? So you got a 3-pack of stirrers, which is at an amazing price right now. But then also you can...
What is
no, you don't want to know. You don't want to know. Get in there, everyone. You've got a code there to get some money off.
What sale we got at the moment then?
Yeah. Because it was at $17.99 and then you dropped it to $10.99.
Probably in for like Christmas or something like that, and I've not changed it back probably. Get on that quick before it goes back up.
Yeah, it says so.
You can't use the code with that one, though.
And then, you can't allow that, man. That'd be
that's all good. All good.
And so you got the Stirrers Indica 3-pack, and then you've also got the Sativa 3-pack. And I'm telling you, lot, man, the Stirrers are a game changer. I didn't even know what to do with it at first. I started like, and I was like,
just eating it.
Yeah, I was just eating it, and I was like, this ain't stirring.
No, do you know what I like? The thing I like is that you can stir the stirrer, but you don't have to because it's actually quite a lot of chocolate there. You can actually stir it into the chocolate and sort of eat it as it's melting off the stick, and still get a good hot chocolate. It's sort of a mix of the two.
And you can, I shouldn't let everyone know this, but you can also dip it in your popcorn. Yeah, I mean, and it just collects popcorn on it, and then
nice, banging.
I think you should do a video of that, Mice. Yeah, you should.
Straight up Homer Simpson.
Yeah, so I should get you on the advert for us.
Bruv. That one, I was just like, yo, chocolate covered popcorn, man, and CBD. Jeez. Right, and then this is beautiful as well, man. If you want to get somebody a gift, you can get a CBD gift hamper. You can get an indica version, or you can get a gift hamper, which is sativa, and which is basically like all the products combined.
Selection of everything.
Yeah. Selection of everything.
And then people can sort of try what they want then as well, you know what I mean? Yeah. Sort of see what they like. But also at Christmas, just like makes a really good gift. People often like to, it's that health thing as well. A lot of people, we always go mad at Christmas for all those.
Like, when the parents go off on one, like, does anyone want a hot chocolate? Does anyone want a hot chocolate? Make sure it's the indica one so they can fall asleep and shit.
Exactly that.
So then you got the stirrers there, single as well, solo stirrers, for $4.99.
Buy one,
yeah. And that's basically it in terms of the products, man. Please visit CannaseursUK.com. And also, as Sam said, he's going to make a code available, especially for the listeners. You know what I mean? You lot locked in as always, man. Shout to the common senses. We appreciate you, mother lovers, as always, man. Every week tuning in. Spread the word. we're about to make a bit more noise very soon as well, man. There's going to be a few people upset, I believe, with some of the guests we got coming in. We're going to expose some of your ball games. In it, D? The ball game. Do you know Baal? Do you know the deity Baal?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
mate. We're finding out that there's a lot more to these ball games than people realize. So it might upset a few people.
A lot of people that are doing some fucking weird shit, mate. I know that.
Say
much.
no
There's
more.
a lot of it going on.
Yeah.
People thinking that people thinking that this stuff's going to help them out somehow, and it's bizarre, mate. Absolutely bizarre.
Hey, bruv, you know what I mean? It is. All right. So before we go, man, how did you find it dealing with this? This whole new normal that they're trying to normalize.
Mate, I'm blessed. Like, I ain't a thing like in terms of really strength of mind in the fact that I live in the middle of nowhere. I don't have neighbours. I got a proper strong like family unit, and like so for us it was like switch off and let's just enjoy. Like for me, I'd been running Cannaseurs non-stop, mate. Like pretty much on my own since 2017, up until that happened. So for me, that was the first time in years that I had been feeling well guilty at my kids, and I'd really try and do the best by them and all that, but at the same time, like sometimes thinking, I don't see him as much as I should do, and I haven't spent. So, mate, I had like a good 3-4 months. That first lockdown was amazing, mate. I absolutely loved it. We was just at home with the kids and just spending some like amazing quality family time together, going on like lovely walks and
it's good, isn't it?
Lovely, mate. I know. When I keep the media off, like the only time sometimes I'm driving in my car and I might turn the radio on and I'll start hearing like the public talking, and I've just if I don't turn it off, I'll shout. I'll just start shouting and banging the steering wheel, just thinking, how can you not be thinking this nonsense still? Like, how are you still going along with this crap? So for me, I've just had to remove for me, this whole problem is that when I engage, I just feel like this real negative feeling, whether it's frustration, anger, like it's just and I just it's not helping anybody, like in a way. Like me being like that with other people ain't helping me. So just the quicker we just like switch off that shit, like people often said to me, like if you switch the telly off and you just crack on, like you really don't notice it that much. You've got people walking around with fucking masks and doing bullshit and all that sort of stuff, but in general you can still crack on with your life in quite a normal way. And also what you said earlier, I was listening earlier, mate, that, man, I don't think people realise, and I said to you about like if the difference with cannabis between Boris Johnson and Starmer. Well, listen, man, I know Boris has been a clown, and you're seeing this in France, and I know people in Spain that are saying, listen, man, if you're unvaccinated and you live in Spain, you can't do nothing, mate. You can go to the shop and get food, and that's it. You can't do. They're absolutely militant, hardcore with this across Europe and across other countries. So I'm one of them where I'm like thankful that we've had him during this period of time, because we have genuinely had some of the most relaxed laws of anywhere in the world.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And even the laws that have been put in haven't been enforced. So for me, like if Starmer gets in now, I guarantee you, to show that he's so different to Boris, and to show that, Boris let all these people die and didn't lock down. If it's down to Labour, and bearing in mind, I was a massive Corbyn supporter. I'm not a Labour supporter in any way, but I massively back Corbyn. But like, if you're seeing what they're doing now, they would have locked down in the summer last year. Yeah, when Boris wouldn't do that. Just before Christmas, they were trying to get him to lock down. So if what happens coming in the near future, Boris is made to resign and everyone's calling for his head and saying we got to get rid of this guy, Starmer will get in, and Starmer's going to be like that strict head teacher that's going to come in and he's going to say, we're not having this.
They said that he was the guy that helped Jimmy Savile get off of a certain case.
He was the head of the Crown Prosecution Service when the police brought evidence that said that Jimmy Savile was a paedophile, and he basically said there wasn't enough evidence for them to take it any further. And the guy is since that point, between him being a politician, has been knighted for the work that he's done for the Crown Prosecution Service. This guy's dark, and I get into it. I'll go into my mad ones. If you translate his name, it's basically Black Star or Dark Star. Kia is a color of black, and then Star. If you translate the Starmer, it's Star. Like, I swear this guy's he's already been shooed in as the next guy, man. And I swear we're going to be wishing for Boris back, mate. As much as crazy as that sounds, we're going to be like, man, like,
you just saying that, it's crazy as well, because it's more or less like the play, you know, like that. You can tell that they're doing their best, they're doing their most to make it like, oh, hey, I'm Boris. So yeah, I made a mistake earlier, and yeah, I guess do you want me to go? Yeah, I mean,
all
I should probably resign.
All played out in it. It's bollocks, mate.
Yeah.
He's done what he's done his role. He's done what he came for, and then he'll take away that whole element where they can just say everything that we done it was Boris. So no one holds any account for it. And another guy comes in who's got the same paymasters with the same fucking, you know, like, you know, talking about battle. Fucking these people are demonic. The heads of these people, this is what they're into. They want to fuck people's lives. They want to fucking literally create chaos and absolute, you know, nightmares. So like, it doesn't matter. Boris is the same as Starmer. They're representing the same people. It's as simple as that. So when he comes in, they're going to go from relaxed old good old Boris to now we've got this new era where it's going to go hardcore, mate. I can just see it. Like I've saying to people recently, if you was at school, if you was at school and you just had like, you know, either who would you rather have? If you're like a naughty school kid and you ain't trying to get away with shit at school, if Boris is your head teacher, or you got someone like Keir Starmer. You know what I mean? It's just that I can just see it in him. He's just got that horrible, horrible vibe to him. So I'm not looking. I can see where this is going. That Boris is leaving and Starmer and Labour are coming in. The media are all. I can see how the media go with these things. They've already decided that's what it's gonna happen. So doesn't look so good on that side of things. But well, you know.
Yeah, does it really matter? You know,
does it really
matter? The thing is, exactly, man. It doesn't really matter when you're a warrior instead of a warrior. These things don't really matter, man.
Who cares, mate? We're gonna crack on with
Sam, man.
Big up, mate. Thanks for having me, man. No, it's been wicked.
Chat room have been loving it as well. Shout out to your more. She says it's been a real great conversation, and that you're like an encyclopedia. So, bruv, we definitely got to do this again, man. Like,
I'd love
there's so much more I don't think we got into.
100%.
That we could have, especially with like the ins and outs of how powerful this plant is, and even the history and whatnot. I'm so glad to see that you're still, even with all this kerfuffle going on, with all the confusion, that you're still pushing it out there. You're still helping people. I think if anyone out there actually wants help on that side of things as well, you should reach out to Sam, because he's been doing it for years now, and obviously by how he's talking, you can tell he knows what he's on about. That is not any shit that he might never know nothing about. Do you know what I mean? So
no, I will just say to anybody out there now, because I used to keep it a bit more quiet, and I really don't care anymore. Anybody out there, right? If any of your family and you, loved ones, friends, whoever it is, gets cancer, which a lot of people are getting, and mate, get in touch with me. You can find me Facebook, email me through Cannaseurs, find me through UMice, and get in contact, because it really is like it's just changing people's lives, mate. The amount of I've seen blood cancer, lung tumors, breast cancer, so many different cancers that are literally being absolutely destroyed with high THC and CBD oil. That it's just you've just got to do it, mate. It's as simple as that. And chemo and radio, like my wife worked in chemo and radio wards for the last. She's just left like 6 months ago, and mate, that shit is. The facts are she's worked in the chemo and radiotherapy wards. The facts are that of all the cancer patients that die, 25% of them are killed by chemotherapy. That's the stat. That is the facts of the matter. Yeah. So in a quarter of cases, the chemo actually is the reason for people actually dying. You know. So my missus gets to see that, which is not something that's shouted about. Yeah, bun the chemo, 100%.
Iatrogenic, a lot of iatrogenic illnesses, deaths, and basically the reason why people are even claiming everyone's dying off of this thing that's going around at the moment is mainly, you go and ask anyone when they talk about, oh, what do you mean it's not real? I know somebody who died.
All the time.
So ask them, where did they die? Ask them, where did they die? Did they die at home? Was they walking on the street and they dropped dead? And I guarantee, I'm not even going to say where, I guarantee you're going to hear the same place all the time.
Every time.
And the one thing we got to start questioning is what the fuck is going on in that place there where people are always dying. Because I was baffled to hear when they were like, last year or whatever it was, you know, when this all kicked off and people started saying like, yeah, but hundreds of thousands of people die of the flu every year. And I was like, is it? I didn't know that. And then we find out like, oh my gosh, it's in the same place. They actually, people dying from the flu in the same place. It's like, yo, we just got to start questioning this rather than accepting what we're hearing, man. But yeah, let's wrap this up because it's getting late. Yeah, it's past midnight here, and I don't want to miss my flight tomorrow because I'm missing home. I'm missing.
Sam, you're on.
You know, I know
you're on Facebook and Instagram as well. Sam, is that right? Cannaseurs UK as well.
Yep.
Yeah, Cannaseurs UK on Instagram and Facebook, and then you can find me personally, just Sam Eager Gibbons, which is Eager's EAGA, Sam Eager Gibbons. Just find me personally on Facebook. But again, if you go to Cannaseurs and you message Cannaseurs, more than likely that will find its way through to me. Any communication is done through me at Cannaseurs. So.
Nice one, man.
Wicked, bro. Thank you very appreciate much. It, man.
Very
nice
interesting.
One, guys. Cheers, Dan. Cheers, Mice, mate.
Yes, man.
Really enjoyed
I'll give you a shout.
Just stick around for 5 minutes. Let's have a quick chat after. Is that all right? Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Wicked, man. Yo, shout out to all the common senses that were locked in. Shout out to the silent listeners as well. Big up DJ Pro Tracks. Shout out to Yamore. Shout out to Don Smithered, Kenny Rebel, Turbo Tubalicious. Who else we got? I know I'm missing out some people there as well. IBMCs, what's going on? And all right, so this scroller ain't doing what it's supposed to do. But yo, I appreciate each and every one of you mother lovers locked in. You know how we do, man. We're going to be back next week with our brother Mem DVG to start off another episode of some crazy shit you might never know nothing about. Shout out to Gleam. Man, I appreciate you locking in, man, and listening to this conversation as well. Oh, shit. See, even my next door now screaming. They're hitting the walls because they're upset. So it's just about time. Who else is there? Is there anyone else I've missed out? No, I think that's it, man.
Turbo Tubalicious, right. King Chico.
Right. Shout out to Turbo Tubalicious. Yes, King Chico locked in. Jeez. Yes, man. Appreciate you locking in. Yo, we're about to bounce now because I'm going to go and knock somebody out next door. You know what I mean? How dare they be banging on my walls while I'm doing my podcast? Yo, my name has been MysDiggi, and it still is MysDiggi. That's my co-host right there. That's Dan DNA. This has been some shit you might never know nothing about. And we're out, bitches.